Hello out there. Welcome back to Table Talk. I am, as always, your first host, Alejo, aka Radon95. Let's pass it on over. Let's do the line.
Mm.
I am, as always, your second host, SneakyAdolf, coming at you over a nice piping hot mug of a CI green tea.
And I'm your third host, Boo, and I'm coming to you live over a hot bowl of a little bit of pasta left over.
Hey. I have some pizza and I have some soda, and some water, so I think I'll be
Nice.
okay.
Ooh, I should get some water.
Yeah, water's good. But yeah,
Delicious aqua.
it's good shit. So today we have a couple of things. And I think first off, we're going to talk about storytelling. Storytelling in tabletop such. And also just storytelling in general, really. I mean, it's like a universal kind of thing. Honestly, it works in every medium ever because humans like stories. It's pretty good. I like stories. Do you like stories?
I've been known to partake in the occasional story.
I've been known to even write my own occasionally.
Hey, there he is. There you go.
Yeah.
But yes, stories are a very integral part, in fact, of role-playing games and tabletop games. And hell, I was literally playing Catan the other day with friends, and we just started creating our own story by just role-playing together while we played. It's just something that happens. It's great.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, there's not like obviously with D&D and with Call of Cthulhu and with any role-playing game, you are making a story. It's a cooperative story. Everyone's a part of it. It's not just one person's story. It's everybody together.
Yeah, even the people who don't want to be.
Even the people who don't want to be a part of your story at all.
Oftentimes wind up being larger parts of the story than they or typically most other people want them to be.
Exactly. But yes, so I found this video. This video called D&D sucks at making story, but that's okay. And I will get you the invite here to the watch together.
Is this a Taking 20 video? It sounds like a Taking 20
video. It's not.
Oh.
It's not. I was telling Boo the other, like, literally a few minutes ago. I was like, hey, I don't know what it is about his videos, but I don't like them.
For me, it's the clickbaitiness.
It's that, I think, and also, like, I was telling him, I was like, it's kind of his personality in the videos as well. It just kind of grates me a little bit in the wrong way.
For me, that's what's that other channel? It's not Angry DM. He has actually a bunch of really good stuff. It's I think it's Yusaka. No, not Yusaka DMing. I'll find it.
Okay.
Oh. Sorry.
But yeah.
There we go.
So, but I figured this would be a good way to start our little discussion here.
Yeah. It's how to be a great game master.
Oh, how to be a great game master. I know of that a little bit. I watched like one video and I was like,
I just don't like his condescending attitude.
I think that's the one.
He has some good videos in there, but his attitude, he comes across as a really, really no nonsense kind of DM where it's like, my opinion is fact. He does have some good tips though for like nothing like concrete, but like questions that you can ask your player, which is actually one of the topics I discussed.
Oh god, that's loud. The jungle.
I watched one video and it was his dice etiquette video wherein he mentions like I think it's like 20 horrible things you can do or something.
Yeah.
And he mentions 5 good things of stuff like don't roll a dice and then be like I do this
Yeah, that's not
and
fucking.
then
You don't do that.
because that's not how it works.
No.
Yeah.
And he has 5 good points, and the rest of them are just him being a prick and stuff that he's like, I don't like this, so I
Oh.
don't allow this at all.
So a
Yeah.
future video, you're
And
telling me?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. A lot of it, a lot of that dice video is
I'll
really
find it.
obvious shit.
Yeah,
But
you find it. You could put it there.
Yeah. It's a lot of really, really obvious shit. If you have even a grain of salt to your
Mhm.
what the hell am I trying to say? Like if you're even moderately experienced RPG player and you're not
Gotcha.
an asshole who's constantly cheating,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
all common sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is. I found it because it's one of the very few videos on YouTube I've ever disliked.
All right, yeah, we'll put that in there for another time. That sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I know we're off topic a little bit, but I've watched a lot of the Taking 20 videos, and I'm like, because he even has a series called what is it? How to Kill Your Party With, and just the title alone, I'm like, dude.
Wait, Taking 20?
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like How to Kill Your Party With ... And I'm like, yeah, okay, so they have he has a lot of information. That's cool. Or it's Kill Your Party With, excuse me, not how.
Now let me ask before we go into it any further. Are these is the Kill Your Party With blank videos, is that a series talking about the strengths and weaknesses of enemies, or is he literally trying to tell you, hey, you need to kill your party, use this?
Think of it as have you ever heard of The Monsters Know What They're Doing?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, that's
it's kind of like that. It's ways to better represent these monsters and make them actually a threat instead of fodder.
Gotcha. Yes, I say that's the I'm agree that that's the intent.
But that's a terrible title.
It's a terrible title. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's a terrible title.
Because yes, I mean they could, but you shouldn't.
But that's not the point. The only videos that should have that title are How to Kill Your Players with a Tarrasque,
right,
and How to Kill Your Players with insert name of God.
Oh sure, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, they have a lot of information, which is really good. I'll be honest, they have a lot of information about lore and shit for all of the monsters and stuff. I watched the one for Drow, and I was like, oh man, that's a lot of stuff. Nice, good research. You're not telling me how to kill with them. You're just telling me about them. I'm like, okay, yeah. So this is more. I would say I would retitle them to How to Represent. Right? How to represent Drow, how to represent this, So, I don't know. But yeah.
Anyway.
So that's all content that people know, and we'll get to some content that people know maybe. But right now, let's talk about
storytelling and why D&D is bad at it.
Why D&D is bad at making stories.
But that's okay.
But but that's okay. Here we go.
Hello. This is the RPGPundit, the final boss in Internet Shitlords. And today I'm pointing out here 2 of my RPGs, Lion and Dragon and Lords of Olympus. Very different games from each other. Okay. But they have at least one thing in common. What is that in the
foreground?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to go back, but that's the I don't know.
Can you move? We can see the module.
What the fuck is that?
It looks like a boilerplate with either cocoa or bong water.
Yeah, I don't know what that is at all. Let me see if I can.
And it's dripping and hissing.
I know it's. I don't know why it's near an object that is
paper
flammable. Let me. I actually want to see if I can see his channel and see if he has video. Oh, a couple of them have that just in front. Okay.
What?
It looks like the way that you boil chocolate the way that you melt chocolate.
Yeah, like a double boiler.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
I think it's for drinks. It's on a mug, but I don't know if.
But there's no handle.
No, there's a handle in the very bottom right corner. That's the handle for the mug underneath. I don't know
what the thing on top of it
Is it
is.
just
Yeah.
dirty dishes?
No, me? I don't know.
Well, this video is already off to a great start.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Lion and Dragon and Lords of Olympus, very different games from each other, but they have at least one thing in common.
Oh man,
they're not both
boiling
OSR.
over.
This is an OSR game,
I know.
so it's based on old school rules. This is a diceless game. You don't even roll dice in it. But one thing that both of them have is that you can't use them to make the argument that some people have made that when you say story is not the goal of an RPG, that's just because all you like are stupid combat games or something like that.
Okay, wait. Sorry. Okay.
I had a lot of trouble even following that sentence.
Yeah, let's back it up a bit, but I think what he said was that people make the argument that storytelling is not the purpose of an RPG? I'm not sure now. I actually don't know what he said.
Why did... Never mind.
All right. I'm going to tab out of this video so I can hopefully listen to his point better, because I can't hear him over the sight of that double boiler.
Okay, here we go.
Why do all the videos that we select have people who can't fucking put a thought together?
Hey man, that's fine.
I mean, hey, we ramble for 4 hours, dude. I don't
But
know
at
what
least
you're talking
our
about.
thoughts are coherent. That's the thing. It's not that he's rambling. It's that he's trying to say something and he
don't
says
know what
it.
he's saying.
What the fuck is he even saying?
Once again, if you would do me the kindness of making a point.
Yes,
I'd love to
exactly.
disagree
Okay.
or agree
All
with
right.
you.
Yeah.
Here we go.
When you say story is not the goal of an RPG, that's just because all you like are stupid combat games or something like that.
Okay, wait. Okay, so story is not so the argument that's being made to him, apparently, from someone, is that story is not the point of an RPG. Someone has said that to him? Maybe?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
It depends on the RPG, but
That's the thing. A role-playing game itself is a story.
yeah.
Like
you play a role in a story.
Exactly. It's a role-playing game, like as in ROLE, role. And if you're not doing that, you're just doing a battle game or something.
Warhammer.
Exactly. You're doing Warhammer. You're doing there's Dungeon Commander. You're doing. There's a couple other probably that are out there that I can't think of.
Any number of games where their focus is more on combat.
Yes. But role playing is specifically like you are playing a role in a story. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think perhaps maybe the guy who makes this video is perhaps notorious among his friend group for liking more combat based games, and they were saying, hey, you only prefer combat based games and story's not the point, and he's saying, no, there's no combat in these 2 modules I have, story is the point.
Potentially. I don't know. Hopefully the guy is somewhat, he's got 1,000 and some subscribers, almost 2,000, so I don't know, man.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of views apparently, so it's good. Yeah,
Both of them are intense role-playing experiences, right? They're role-play intensive. They're focused on the world, they're focused on the culture, they're focused on the characters.
Cool.
Dark Albion, which is the partner to Lion and Dragon, has an entire chronology, a whole list of dozens and dozens of characters from all the noble houses of the War of the Roses, all of these details about it, and a whole gazetteer of all of what, the slightly fantasized version of England would look like in the War of the Roses in 1455, right?
Cool.
So, that's very detailed. And this,
Okay.
Lords of Olympus, is a diceless game where you play the child of a god.
Oh, thank you.
And that's about as
You've moved it closer.
Role-play intensive as you can get, because you're incredibly powerful, right? So it's not going to be about a combat game. You may occasionally end up fighting someone worth fighting, like, one of your own family members, probably.
But I don't... Okay, I don't know if anyone has ever said that this game in particular is a combat game, as you put it. Right? Like, you're beating up that straw man, as far as I'm aware. Like, that straw man, oh man, he is in a headlock, and he is struggling. He is fucking having a... Oh, man. Like, the ref is like...
to tap out.
Yeah, the ref is like trying to pull you off, but you have got him, and he's turning purple, and that's just strange for Straw. But again, I don't... Like, who are you talking to?
Yeah, like, who the hell are you talking about?
Like, and I even see on the bottom, after he moved the cup, well, before that it said diceless, and now it says role-playing game of Olympians, I assume, and whatever. So, yeah, it's on the cover. Okay. What?
I've tabbed back in, and all I can look at is, like, after he moved it, and it's, like, dripping, it looks like it's some sort of, like, distillation technique, but
Maybe?
like it's just dumping back into the sample, so
Yeah.
surely he's not trying to distill something.
I have no idea what this is.
Also, the heat source seems to be on the top,
Yeah?
and also perhaps like a heat source on the bottom,
Potentially? I don't know.
Because that tube there is either like functions as like the condenser, or is a handle.
Well, like, if you look at his channel, that is not a tube, that is just a handle. Like, there are other videos with pictures of that being a mug, and it's in full frame. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's just the weirdest fucking mug I've ever seen.
I don't know.
Maybe he likes to drink well, hey, you know what? I'm drinking tea and water. Maybe he likes to drink cocoa and distilled water.
Yeah, hot distilled water. Nice.
Makes it go down smooth.
I have no idea. Okay.
But it's actually a game full of intrigue and deception. It's got all kind, it's got a whole multiverse in it that you can travel to. It's got all of these family dynamics.
Camera's panning.
So there's this intense role-playing experience.
Oh, it stopped. Okay.
Who don't like the fact that I'm ruining their notion, the thing they try to push, that RPGs, D&D, and all other RPGs in general are meant to be about telling a story, either from the top down by the DM or collectively as a group somehow.
But they are.
Yeah. That,
like I don't know. Okay, so example I will take from my own game. I am DMing a game. I'm DMing two different games. They're in the same world. They're in the same exact time, basically. Like, they are happening side by side, occasionally affecting each other. Quite literally, it started with a drow coming out from the Underdark because the surface world dug too deep and found them and started a war, right? And, like, from their side, they say the drow started it, and the drow side's like, they started it, and, she came up and she's trying to create or try to find people to rally with in order to stop the kingdom, in order to stop the war. But obviously it's not for good intentions, other than, like, well, it is for good intentions in the sense of, like, stopping her people from dying, right? Yeah. But it's also like she's trying to undermine the kingdom and then try to replace it, control it, try to do some manipulative shit behind the scenes. Yeah. She came up and she met the other two player characters, a sorcerer, a pyromancer sorcerer, and a Oath of Vengeance paladin. And they've gotten together, they've split up, gotten back together, a bunch of this kind of shit is happening. The Oath of Vengeance paladin, in fact, recruited a bunch of mercs and went on a whole thing on his own as well. And this is all happening in the same kind of space where all of this stuff, I mean, I'm only, glossing over the details a bit, but there's been a lot of things that have happened in their lives that is a story. Mm-hmm. You can't say that it's not, right? Because otherwise, like, what is it?
Yeah, but did any of those people get in combat once?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
then it's not
much
a story.
of a
It's all
story
about
then, is it?
combat.
It's a combat game. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. But that's the thing. Okay, stories, right? Movies, right? Movies or
Yes.
stories. If you go and watch, I don't know, what's like a war movie, right? And a movie that is about war. There's still a story that you're following, a plot, a narrative, right? You're following that. Whether it be like as a spectator of the entire event or through a single character or something. But that is specifically a story about combat, right? Like, okay, so then you could still tell a story through combat.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, man. I've seen Lord of the Rings thousands of times, and I've never heard of a Helm's Deep.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's like, what is that?
And then just have it be narrated to us that's what happened. We don't
exactly
need to see it. Combat,
apparently
this gets in the way.
Exactly, like the experience, unlike fucking reading a book, like going and reading what am I thinking? What do I have over there? I can't see books from here. It's too far and dark. I don't know, any kind of story that has a scene where characters get into conflict in some way of like actually having to fight for their lives, right?
Yes.
Like it's still it's a story.
Is it though? Is it?
Apparently not. I don't.
It's a story, but it's only a story because it's not D&D, and D&D sucks at making story.
Oh, yes. You're right. Okay, fair enough. Gotcha.
What the fuck?
I love it. All right, here we go. This is as far as I got, by the way. I don't know what's to come.
Okay.
I'm just going to say overall my general response to his title, because it seems like that's going to be the closest that he comes to making a state. D&D is inherently neither good nor bad at making a story. Yeah. It's the DM that makes the story, or the DM who reads the module, in which case the module makers make the story.
Right. He does have some stuff to talk about modules. Well, not really, but I do in response.
And the players as a whole also contribute to and as a whole build the story.
Yeah.
And I think that that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, like
it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, like, to be fair, I don't like to have a linear kind of story in the sense of like I don't have a just this is what's going to happen thing, right? We have I usually do things like in a more open world sense, right? Where everything's going to either affect it or not, or there's stuff in the background that's happening and it's either going to affect it or not. Right? It just depends on what the players do, and it's more of a player-driven story in the sense of that. I don't know.
It's like Witcher 3, one of the most critically acclaimed video games ever.
Sure.
Has combat in it, and it also uses combat as a storytelling like tool, and also has a good story. It's almost like you can have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, in this case, I would say so.
You can have combat and roleplay, and I don't know who hurt this man and told him because there's combat, it can't have a story.
Well, apparently,
and made him agree that these modules have no combat and thus are pure storytelling.
Yeah, like
he even said he even says in Lord of Olympus, you can fight things that are worth fighting.
Yeah.
So,
but it still has a story.
But what if I want to fight something that's not worth fighting?
Right?
What if I want to fight a gazebo?
Stomp on a bug or something.
Exactly. I don't know if he's accounted for the possibility. I really don't know.
He's never played with my players, then.
Then let's see what he says.
God. Yeah.
They want to claim that I'm just saying this because I just want to do stupid dungeon crawls or something like that, right? Well, if you know my games, if you know my products, like, dude, if you're looking for a dungeon crawl, probably nothing I make is going to be all that great for you, right? Like, even,
Wait, he makes this? Wait.
RPG Pundit. Or Pundit.
Pundit, yeah. Let's see. Lion and Dragon RPG. Wait a minute. Oh, is this his thing? Wait,
that's real. That's pretty cool.
Click here to go immediately. I want to see.
No wonder I've never heard of it before. Not to be.
No, I know.
Yeah.
From Dom Publishing. Okay. Dom Publishing. Is that what this guy is? I think. I don't know. Who are you?
And then his
sister
company is Sub.
Yeah, right, exactly. Okay. Well, if he made that, like, good on you, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
That's fucking rad.
That's pretty fucking cool.
I want to like look into it then and actually like see how it is.
But you can
cool.
still have combat though.
Yeah, you can like legitimately. I'm looking at the title, the top, or the first fucking book, and it's like a bunch of knights fucking riding down and battling each other.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I don't know what you're talking about here.
Jesus.
Where is your leg, and how are you not standing? Okay.
I've got some adventures in my RPG Pundit Presents series that include dungeons, but they're usually pretty basic dungeons, you know, and they're not exciting. You know, like that's not the exciting part of the adventure. So like almost everything I
Fair
do
enough.
in
Well, now, okay. Let me just say that your excitement is subjective.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like,
yeah.
Like, I can get excited over fucking mowing grass in a video game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, legitimately, I want, but I also don't want to buy the fucking House Flipper DLC that lets you do that. Because it's exciting to me to do that for some reason. Right? I really enjoy it. And that's my thing, right? I'm a weirdo in that respect, and that's cool. But what if you have a scenario where somebody plays your RPG and they are excited by your dungeon? Then you've immediately got a counterpoint to your point.
Yeah.
So
and so like not only that, you're kind of saying this as if it's like, oh, it's like the dungeon's not the exciting part. So if someone in town asks you, "Hey, my daughter has been kidnapped and I need you to go rescue her," is that is that supposed to be boring?
Right?
Are you supposed to be like, "God, I hate being in this dungeon. I want to go back and talk to people." Because like,
yeah,
you should be happy to do everything. You should not be trying to bore your players with that.
No.
So
you do not have to be happy doing every single part of a D&D campaign.
I mean, you know what I mean. Like, you should at least be interested in it.
Okay. This is an interesting conversation then.
Well, the only reason why I'm saying that is like, if you have a situation where your players, where you are literally trying to make your players uninterested in something that is supposed to be
I don't think he's trying to make his players uninterested in the
dungeon.
No,
I don't either.
I think he's just saying that his style of world building and storytelling is one that is more roleplay heavy and less combat heavy.
That's fair.
Well, not even just that. It's also like less dungeon heavy in the sense of like you're not going to be delving into those things very much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my players they've done 3 dungeons, I think, so far, but it's because. Or no, technically 5, but like 3 of them are more stereotypical dungeons.
Sure.
Anyway, though, the problem that I'm finding is I think this guy's falling into a false dichotomy where he believes that there is one slider that exists in a D&D game, and on one side of that slider is combat, and on the other side of the slider is roleplay.
Roleplaying, yeah. Like, because like I was gonna say, like, you can have a thing where people don't want to like to be fair, if you make a party and you have them go on an adventure, you don't ever have to put it in a dungeon. You don't ever have to if you don't want to. If you make a dungeon and they're like, oh, I don't really want to go in the dungeon, right? But you have something in there that they need, then they go through the dungeon. It's not necessarily like because they want to, really, but it's because they have to, which isn't great, but it's still just kind of a part of it. And then the other thing is, I don't know if this guy knows, but you can be excited about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows that. like I could be excited about your dungeon and also excited about your roleplay, right? Because I personally am very easy to please in this kind of respect. I enjoy doing quite literally whatever in these kinds of games because it's fun, right?
One of the things that I super enjoy doing when I'm clearing a dungeon is doing more like SWAT tactics, which a lot of players and especially DMs don't like. DMs because doing SWAT tactics overly simplifies a lot of dungeons, and a lot of players because it makes clearing dungeons really methodical.
Yeah.
I, however, like derive a lot of joy out of absolutely stomping the fuck out of a dungeon.
Fair enough.
And as such, when we're going through the dungeon and we're 3/4 of the way in and only popped 1 potion of minor healing, a lot of players are like, this seems kind of a slog, and the DM's like, what the fuck, why isn't my dungeon working? And meanwhile I'm going like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Efficiency. It's good.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah. I don't know. Let's keep going.
In terms of my game design and in terms of how I run a game as a DM is intensive. It's roleplay intensive. It has a deep culture. It has a lot of interaction between players and NPCs and players and each other.
Why is the camera panning?
I was about to say, camera's panning again, but also he's revealed his hand that this is what he likes.
Yes.
Right? Like this is
That's
why
his
this
style.
video this is why his video is made, apparently.
Yes.
Is because he likes doing that more so. But again, I gotta say, D&D, you can just do that. I have been just doing that with my intrigue campaign. There has been no fight since they split apart from the paladin who wanted to make a band of mercenaries. They have the other two have not wanted to get into a fight whatsoever. And they haven't at all. So, yeah. And it's been incredibly fun just to like have them roleplay with each other and everyone around. It's incredibly fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So there's all of that, right? And none of that is story. That's a different thing, right? This is what's called immersion. What you're doing in an RPG, what you're meant to do in an RPG, is to immerse inside the RPG. Now, I'm going to explain because I think a lot of you, those of you who weren't there for like a decade during these wars over whether RPG was meant to be for story or not, and that part of the
Sorry. Okay, wait.
There was a war.
There was a war?
First I've heard of this shit.
Yeah, it's on the cover of Lion and Dragon.
Oh, yeah. It's the War of the Lion versus the Dragon.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm there.
Yeah.
The dragon is the role player and the lion is the combat.
I was gonna say the people who are in armor and who are kicking the shit out of the people ostensibly not in armor. I don't know. I can't see behind the double boiler.
I don't know. What is it?
The war of story versus combat. That's combat.
I know, right?
Come on.
The role players met the combat lovers in an open field. Only God knows why.
Yeah, I'm like looking over like war over story and combat and RPGs on Google, and like I'm seeing like why RPG combat is broken, how RPG combat can help the story. Do you prefer your RPG combat as war or sport? Like you've got a lot of things, right?
Yeah, none of this.
I have no problem believing him on the fact that there are a lot of people arguing in forums and stuff about combat or roleplay.
Sure.
I can very easily see that happening in like the days of 1st and 2nd edition.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, but
I don't know if I'd quite say the word war.
I don't know about that either. I don't know.
But I also don't think I would title my video this way, so
I
also think I'd keep my camera still and not have a double boiler moved to like a
or
shelf.
like center whatever isn't supposed to be centered, because now I'm looking at the
rule
wall.
of thirds is
I'm like, what is
Are all his videos like this, or the camera?
I don't know. I really want to know now.
Because it is literal front and center.
Yeah.
This cup.
Gotta make sure the cup's centered, not the books.
No, not what you're trying to talk about, I guess.
The cups are more important than my published work, is what I'm seeing by the mise en scène.
I know, right?
Oh my god.
And like, okay, I think he was saying something. I want to hear something.
So there's all of that, right? And none of that is story. That's a different thing, right? This is what's called immersion.
That's what I wanted to hear. Apparently, none of what has been told to him is story, it's immersion? So, okay, let's look up definitions. This is important here.
Yes.
Immersion.
On like a totally different scale, though. Like, if you want to have like an X, Y, and Z axis, X is your roleplay and not roleplay. Y is your combat and not combat, and your Z is your immersion and not, because you can be immersed in combat or in roleplay.
I mean, you have some level of it regardless, I would say. Like,
I think that depends on the player, but
I would think that even if a player is not technically like immersed, like in the sense of like they are a part of the game, but they're not like role-playing super hard, they're still immersed in some way, right?
Otherwise they wouldn't be playing.
Otherwise they wouldn't be playing. Like, okay, immersion. For this specific instance, I'm going to assume they're trying to use deep mental involvement as the definition. I assume,
as opposed to like being submerged in water.
Exactly. Yes. As opposed to the action of immersing someone or something in liquid. That's, if you're doing that in your D&D games, I don't know what you're doing, man.
I don't know. This guy seems to like his liquid more than his roleplay.
You're right.
It's true.
But no, okay, so deep mental involvement. So I need to go back now and try to figure out what he's talking about. What is he referring to when he says immersion, then?
Dungeon crawl? Probably nothing I make is going to be all that great for you, right? Like, even, I've got some adventures in my RPG Pundit Presents series that include dungeons, but they're usually pretty basic dungeons, and they're not exciting. Like that's not the exciting part of the adventure. So like almost everything I do in terms of my game design and in terms of how I run a game as a DM is intensive. It's roleplay intensive. It has a deep culture. It has a lot of interaction between players and NPCs and players and each other. So there's all of that, right? And none of that is story. That's a different thing.
Wait, okay. So none of his culture, none of his interactions, none of that is story?
Yeah,
it's just world building, I guess he's saying.
He's made dozens of countries with unique cultures and languages, and they've never gotten in a war with each other.
No. Yeah, exactly. There's no, apparently, and I'm going to use a different word here. Apparently, there's no history. It's just there, right?
No, there's got to be history. Doesn't he say that there's history?
Maybe. Well, what I'm saying is history itself is a story, right?
Yes.
The telling you about this kind of stuff and like having, I don't know, a character find this stuff out is part of a story, right? Like I'm not sure. I guess I understand. Yes, world building is a little different from actually actively telling a story with your players. But you can also do that. You also can do that because of your players, because of the story, right? Am I alone? Oh, okay. Because like, legitimately for the campaign that we did for a little while with all the animals, that has become a fixed point in time, and so it's affected my world, and now I have a place that is because of that. Right?
Yeah.
That is cause and effect. Now that's a part of my world building, and it's also its own story.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. this is what's called immersion. What you're doing in an RPG, what you're meant to do in an RPG, is to immerse inside the RPG. Now, I'm going to explain, because I think a lot of you, those of you who weren't there for like a decade during these wars over whether RPG was meant to be for story or not, and that part of the war ended at the beginning of it, right? Like the very beginning, both sides agreed RPGs as they exist are not good at making stories, right?
I've never heard that. Also,
what?
I think I figured out his setup.
Okay.
Oh.
I think he's got like a clear glass cup on a hot plate. And he's filled that clear glass cup with water, and he's using the steam from that water as a double boiler in order to keep what is hot chocolate, I guess, warm.
Potentially. Whatever is in that small tin cup.
Why would you do that near your books?
I don't know. It's making me very upset.
Why would you have it on video?
I know. Dude, again, it's on like so many of his videos. I don't know if this is just his aesthetic.
Own another table?
I wonder if he's got like a mold problem.
I don't know. It's literally so many of these is the same exact setup. That thing is like pretty much there. You can see it.
I will buy this guy an end table if I have to.
Dude, I don't know. Yeah, I assume he owns more than one table. I'm going to make that assumption.
We can hit up IKEA.
That's true, yeah. It's not hard to make a table, to be fair.
Well, dude, his other tables are being used for more double boilers.
Oh.
But, okay.
Wonder what his bookshelves look like. Oh my god.
I don't know.
You mean double boiler shelves. He uses his books to prop up the boilers.
Oh man.
Oh man. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, alright.
So, okay. I gotta go back because he's strange, man.
G was meant to be for story or not, and that part of the war ended at the beginning of
this,
it, right? Like the very beginning, both sides agreed RPGs as they exist are not good at making stories, right?
At the beginning of what, though?
At the beginning of, no, he said at the beginning of the argument. At the beginning of the argument between combat and story, like combat and roleplay, apparently, like what they're good for, that they immediately said it's not good at storytelling. Immediately.
Okay, so what are you talking about there being a war? If there was an immediate agreement, then there was no war.
No. See, the war was between whether it was good for combat or whether it was good for role-playing. Storytelling is its own entity, apparently.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because you can't tell storytelling through combat and through roleplay.
Why not?
So I suppose that's fair.
What? Why not?
So
why can't you do that?
It's not like you can have character development and new things come about because you're just talking to people.
Like legitimately, we've used so many examples already of like how things can just influence it.
Yeah.
Boo. Counterpoint to what you said though. Do you remember the campaign that we played with Merriman, and when the orcs were attacking the city?
Yeah.
And Muscle Wizard just threw Merriman, like yeeted him out of the city. I would say that served as a good way to help develop both Merriman and mine characters.
I don't know. It involved combat. I'd say no.
That's true.
Oh, but it was storytelling though.
What?
Oh, it was storytelling. Oh, okay, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, but it had combat though, so.
But,
yeah, but
no, wait a minute. Was it
combat is good for storytelling.
Yeah, no, was it storytelling or was it immersion? Come on.
Yeah.
I felt pretty immersed throwing my friend.
So then it wasn't storytelling, it was
then
immersion.
It was just immersion.
No, because the whole point of an RPG is immersion, though.
Yeah, but it's not good at telling stories, remember?
Yeah, but then that's not a story, though.
It's not a story, it's just immersion.
Yes. Jesus Christ.
Like,
that's what he said.
This guy keeps sprinkling in sentences that I agree with, but wrapping them up in the context of like
something that doesn't make sense.
I can't. I'm having honestly a hard time following him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, me too.
Like,
granted, that could be because we keep interrupting him every 10 seconds to talk for 5 minutes.
Well, that's because he keeps making a point.
Well,
and every time.
Does he though?
Yes. Yes. He keeps saying, like, legitimately, he just said that apparently, right as they started, they said storytelling's bad in RPGs. They just did that.
I need to go back and just like listen to like the last 30 seconds.
Go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
And players on each other. So there's all of that, right? And none of that is story. That's a different thing, right? This is what's called immersion. What you're doing in an RPG, what you're meant to do in an RPG, is to immerse inside the RPG. Now, I'm going to explain, because I think a lot of you, those of you who weren't there for like a decade during these wars over whether RPG was meant to be for story or not, and that part of the war ended at the beginning of it, right? Like the very beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Both sides agreed RPGs as they exist are not good at making stories, right?
Okay, so
that part of the war ended at the beginning of it.
So there wasn't a war.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay,
yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Apparently, yeah, that's the thing. I apparently misrepresented it. I apologize. I thought he was talking about a different point. But no. He's talking about how they immediately went to war about RPGs being either good at story or not, and apparently they immediately stopped the war.
Yeah.
That raged on.
It's not a war.
No, there was an overarching war consisting of multiple parts.
Right.
And the part that started immediately and ended soon thereafter
immediately
was was both sides like agreeing on D&D sucking at making story.
No, not D&D.
Okay.
RPGs in general sucking at making story. Which is bizarre.
So does that mean that your own RPGs are bad at making stories?
Apparently.
Yeah. Well, because they're not D&D though.
No.
But
it doesn't.
He said RPGs.
He said RPGs. He's made himself have his own invalidated fucking content. I don't. Yeah. What are you doing? Do you listen to your own arguments? Okay.
I think that's why I've been like catching up on this and like, or not catching up, getting caught up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is because I was like, but you're clearly in favor of like low combat, high immersion, high role playing.
Yeah.
But apparently no RPGs are good at it.
But apparently he thinks that he thinks that's the worst way to play it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Both sides agreed RPGs as they exist are not good at making stories.
Sorry, as they exist.
In any format of any variety of story. And so instead the war became between the people that wanted to change RPGs so that they were good at making stories, what they called story games later on, which kind of ended up becoming its own hobby. And the people who wanted RPGs, to be about immersion, to be about playing a deep immersion into your character inside a world that seems alive. You know, the experience of actually being there and not being like above it all trying to make a story happen, right?
Okay, so apparently if you play a character in a game, you cannot in any way make a story.
Yeah, no.
Right? If you're doing a role-playing game and you play as a character and you try to answer questions about that character, you can't go on a personal story, a personal journey in order to figure out that character. No, you're just not allowed. You just can't do that. I don't understand what you're trying to say.
You can't make a story, but you can be involved in a story is what I think he's trying to say.
I guess, but you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, but by being involved is one of the ways to make a story.
Exactly. I don't understand what you're... Okay. Ugh. All right. Okay, here we go.
So it must smell really chocolatey in his room.
This is the difference between the two concepts. If you're trying to make a story in D&D,
okay,
the first thing that those of you who are not familiar with this have to understand are these terms of story before, story now, and story later.
What?
Okay, let's assume that you want to try to make a story out of D&D. So there's two ways that you can really make a story out of D&D that actually counts as a story. The first is story before. It means you're the DM, or maybe even you as the DM with your players, decide beforehand the beginning, middle, and end of what's going to happen in your entire game.
What?
So that's called a module, right?
Yeah, that's a module or
it's called
a
module. Because like you have, I mean, you do have beginning, middle, and end in a module.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's fair, I suppose.
But like, it doesn't go that way usually, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's
sure,
like-
you can get from beginning to end, absolutely, or you could change the ending, right?
Yeah.
Like there are so many ways it can go. I guess yes, you can do this, like he's suggesting. By the way, let's get clear. One of the definitions of a story is an account of imaginary or real people and events told for entertainment. Is
Yeah,
that
but that's not a real story.
Yeah, what's
No,
a
that's-
real story? I need
There's
to look at
Keeping.
There's only 2 different methods.
apparently.
two.
But
Your way of having fun is wrong. I am right. Buy my product.
exactly. I just need
This
to
is
see.
sounding
discussed this last
dangerously
week.
close to Fate of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I know, it's very strange. I just would you disable your ad block? Yeah, I would. Okay. Sorry, people out there. I used ad block. Oh no.
Honestly, this video is starting to make me a little bit angry because of what I was thinking for the character that I just wanted to make a couple days ago.
Sure.
Or I wanted to make I've been wanting to make for a couple days.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I just like, okay, so we have many definitions of story. Here we go.
Yes.
Here we go. So we have an account of incidents or events. We have a statement regarding the facts pertinent to the situation in question. We have anecdote, which is a different word, which is a great word. I love that word. We have a fictional narrative shorter than a novel. We have the intrigue or plot of a narrative or dramatic work. We have a widely circulated rumor. We have lie, falsehood. We have legend, romance. We have a news article or broadcast. We have matter, situation, archaic, history. That's story as a noun. So which one of those is a real story? Which one of those is proper? Please tell me which one is right.
Well, let's listen to him
like-
a little bit longer, and maybe he'll explain these magic 2 methods of storytelling.
It's like people saying, like, oh, that's not real art.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
A
Like,
story is itself subjective. Stop telling people they're having fun wrong.
Okay, wait a minute. A story in itself is subjective?
Oh, no, sorry. I'm speaking art in itself is subjective.
Okay, alright. Yeah. That I will... Well, there are some objective standards to it, though, because otherwise how do you know what's good and what's bad?
I don't know enough about art, I'm going to be honest. Because, frankly, I've never really been too horribly interested in it.
Well, no, because art refers to a lot of things.
It does.
So, like,
And
otherwise...
some things have to not be art in order for some things to be art.
That's true, and so there is a standard there for that. Right? So, I would say that it's easy to go, hey, this is art because of this, and this. Right? And then there are some things that you go, this isn't art because of this, and this.
I would say any solid attempt at making art is art. It does not mean it is good art.
True.
Then you have to go into the definition of what is good and what are your standards that you're using to quantify what is good and what isn't, you know?
Yeah, some people say art is what makes you feel something. Some people say art is how like realistic it looks.
Right.
Or what it represents and stuff like that. And that's what I find is the subjective part of art. Is I personally could not give less of a shit about the Mona Lisa.
Oh sure, that's fine. And again, that is subjective in itself.
And,
but I would say,
since people are like, oh my god, it's the Mona Lisa, or oh my god, it's the woman pouring milk, or oh my god, it's the Scream. And they're like, this art is so good. And I'm like,
sure.
I personally prefer the art in Wind Waker.
that is what I consider right there to be the subjectivity of art.
I would say so as well, but there is some sort of standard that is applied to this kind of stuff. I don't know what the standard is for that kind of stuff, because I personally don't care for it either. I don't know.
What you're talking about now is the difference between art and high art.
Those
are two different things. Yes, no, they're two different things.
They're defined as two different things.
Yeah, because sculptures and paintings by famous people, those are considered high art. Anything
I don't
like that. Yeah, I know.
Man.
Yeah, but like, what makes me less qualified than Michelangelo?
That's what I'm saying. What does make you like? What makes anyone less qualified than anyone?
It is an arrogant statement, but due to the fact that it simply depends on whether or not you're famous, like, what if I get famous for making, I don't know, a sculpture of plaster of Paris around a water bottle,
Sure.
and for some whatever reason, it tickles everyone's fancy at the art gallery, and I like become a billionaire off it. I am now famous,
and suddenly your opinion matters.
That doesn't mean I'm talented.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a whole debate. I have no idea,
this is a
right?
Debate that we don't need to be getting into.
It's been raging for millennia.
It's true. You're right.
This has been an actual war.
Yeah, you're right.
Not the war between storytelling and combat and immersion or role
fucking
playing.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to something that we know, I guess.
Yeah.
So your game is largely meaningless. It's just a process of, playing it through. You're acting it out the way you'd act out a stage play. And this is...
So, is a stage play not a story?
I like to make a bath.
I like, that's legitimately, if you're saying that if they make a story, right, and they then play it out, they're just making a stage play, and that is a story, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think
if
he's necessarily saying that that's less valid, though. Because
I know what I'm saying is, if that is not a story, or if RPGs are bad at making stories because they do that, or that's one way to do it, if that's bad, I don't understand what your argument here is, whether or not it is or is not a story. Because if it sucks at making stories, then how is that a story that can be made? Right?
Yeah.
This is where the story, you already know what the story is going to be about. You already know how it's going to play out mostly. You may turn around a few details here and there, as in improving. But basically, you know what you want happening, right? And if you're just the DM and you're doing this, basically it means your characters, your players, have no power. Anything important to the story, they can't change because you've already decided what that story is going to be. Now, I understand how the D&D mechanics suck at doing this kind of story, right? Because the D&D mechanics say that a character can get killed by one lucky hit by a goblin if they're, just in a bad place at a bad time. And if your story, if your wonderful plot as the DM depends on this character staying alive, you can't let that happen, right?
Okay, so I guess, I guess I can kind of agree with him in this respect, actually.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from.
Because if you do railroad it to such a degree, and, things are bound to happen, if somebody just is playing this in D&D and they die, then that character's gone, and that whole part of your story is gone, right?
Yeah.
Well, I basically informed my players at session 0 of my campaign, hey, there's going to be a big bad guy that you will have multiple run-ins with. You will go through the process of weakening him down and bringing him to the point where he's actually able to be taken on, and then you will hopefully kill him forever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay. And if he's saying that what we did with that is sitting down and removing all agency from the players,
right?
Because I, as a DM, have decided, oh well, they're going to win this encounter, yada yada. But I think most DMs do that. They don't ever throw encounters at their players, or hopefully they don't throw encounters at their players where they're like, yeah, this will kill all the little shits.
Right, yeah, that's not the intention. Is we were literally talking about this before. The intention is not to kill your players, is to challenge them.
Yeah.
Right? And you should have an idea, I use fucking, what is it called? Kobold Fight Club to help me in balancing encounters for difficulties for players. because it's very nice to see, what would be a hard encounter. What are you doing? What is that noise?
Oh, sorry, I'm messing with magnets.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. It's just like so many taps. I'm like, what? But yeah, it's good to see like what's a medium encounter, what's an easy encounter, what's a hard encounter, right? What's a deadly encounter, and could they overcome that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it might fuck them up a bit, but could they overcome it? And I don't know if so. I think agency was never in question, like what the players can do. It's just he's talking about different, like, specific points of the story itself that you're making cannot be changed, right? That's what he's referring to, as in, like, you have your beginning, your players are going to start from here. Then in the middle, they're going to encounter the bad guy once here, and once here, and once here, right? Those cannot be changed, apparently. And then later on, they killed the bad guy, right?
But, like, isn't that counter to his whole point of, like, he's like, oh, I make living worlds and stuff. Like,
yeah, this is a whole different point, I believe. I think this is the point of this is a way you can do a story in D&D specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope in the other one he says where you can have a living world that changes based on the player's actions.
I hope so too. I really do, because that is the way that I like to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's the way that most people like to do it, honestly, in some respect or another.
Yeah.
If your plot depends on a villain getting away, you can't let the genius of your players, however clever they come up with a plan to get him, that must fail. So you're going to find whatever stupid means, whatever Deus Ex Machina you can get to make sure that villain escapes. And so you can see how this would ultimately be something that could be very unsatisfying for your players if you're railroading them along in the story.
Yes, sure.
That's story before.
Don't
the
play
second
D&D,
is
make a
story
movie.
now, because you might say, well, okay, but we don't want to know what the end of our story is, but we want it to be a story.
Okay.
So story now is this idea where either the DM by himself or the DM with his players work together to end up trying to make story happen out of what's going on in the game. Now, what that means is has to play out in some way, right? Because just playing in the world is not a story. That's just playing in...
How?
No.
How?
Yeah.
How is that not a story? I literally just said...
I think that's him saying, like, bullshitting around with the NPC, like, shop owner for 3 sessions is not a story.
How?
Yeah, how is that not a story? It's not a very entertaining story, but
it's not a very long story.
Exactly.
But I would say that it's still an event that happens that can be recounted. Yeah. I, as a player, went to go talk to Yorick. Yorick said, hey, I have these things for sale. And I went, okay, Yorick, well, hey, first, tell me about your family. Like, how's your wife doing? How are your kids? And he starts telling me about his wife and kids. And then, some thief came and tried to steal an apple from Yorick. And I was like, yo, don't do that. And I caught him. And then I went, hey, Yorick, here's your apple back. By the way, can I go and buy this thing now? And he went, oh yeah, I'll give you a discount. And then I went back to my friends. And then I went and told them this story, right? I told them what happened. I recounted a tale. I recounted exactly what happened, and that in itself is a story.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Like, I could just do that off the cuff. Just like...
Yeah. The events in D&D, whatever happens in D&D is what you make of it.
Exactly.
You can make a story out of anything.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Because, here's the thing. In real life, if you go outside and you dig a hole, you go outside and you dig a fucking hole. Mm-hmm. And then there's an empty part of the ground. If you dig a hole in D&D, you tell your DM, oh, I'm going to go buy a shovel and go dig a hole. Your DM is either going to do one of two things. One, okay, you dig a hole. Now what? Or you dig a hole and, whoa, you find these weird bones.
Potentially, yeah. You could sprinkle that in.
So, it really just depends. Most times in D&D, the DM wants things to happen.
Yeah.
whether they're boring or not, something needs to happen.
And even
because
if it's...
because if nothing happens, your players aren't going to want to play anymore.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you don't have things happen, you're one, not telling a story. Two, you're just kind of hanging out and doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Because like otherwise, like what are you doing with your character? Like if I go and have a whole shopping day, that was the entire session. That was the day, right? That's a whole thing. I don't know what you mean. How is that not a story?
I mean, hey, honestly, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My players have literally spent like 2.5 sessions
Exactly.
shopping.
So I don't know what the hell this guy's on about.
I don't know.
The world. We'll talk about that in a moment with story later. But with story now, the idea is you're all artistes and you're making a wonderful tale of literature or some bullshit like that, right?
What?
So you need to have a mechanic that can do that. D&D doesn't have that mechanic. No role-playing game has that mechanic.
I don't understand what you mean.
I think I know what he means. I think what he's saying is D&D needs to have some way to force the DM and players to move along in order to progress the story arc as a whole.
Really?
And because you can literally faff around for 10 sessions, D&D is bad at making story.
But, okay, alright, so, you know all of those movies and stuff where they have, like, people get a thing and then they go to a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't... Sometimes they don't even show how they got the thing and they just make an offhand comment, and sometimes it works, right?
Yeah.
But that whole exchange, if something happened there, I mean, you usually see it, right? And sometimes you don't see it because it was just them faffing about. You know? They just went and they did the thing and it was simple and they got there.
Yeah.
Right?
I think what he's saying is, and I'm gonna rewind this a bit.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
If you as a DM and your players are living for story in the moment and sort of your actions changing how things go and not having a predefined route for how everything is going to run, then that is pretentious and sort of has its own hubris.
I swear to God, if that's what he means, because my players have done nothing in the sense of going places. They want to stay in one place. It's only recently that something happened that actually made it so that they can go. And I don't mean that in the sense of they just don't want to go anywhere. No, their characters legitimately have no reason to leave this city. And it's only because of literally something happening that was because of the other campaign coming into play and their other characters then messing with their characters in the intrigue campaign indirectly, right? That's the only reason why now they have to leave for a little bit. But up until that point, they were just literally doing day-to-day stuff, going to school, going and building and making and running a tavern. That was the story for a while.
Yeah.
And it's not going to...
That's hubristic and you're wrong.
But it's... So, and it's if you really think that you need to be in the now and always have something going on, that's incredibly exhausting.
Yeah.
That is exhausting.
Say that about real life and then fucking get back to you.
Right? If I were constantly doing stuff, I would never want to do anything because I'm just tired of doing everything all the time. I would want a break. I would want downtime.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what he says. I think that's what he's saying.
That means it has to play out in some way, right? Because just playing in the world is not a story. That's just playing in the world. We'll talk about that in a moment with story later. But with story now, the idea is you're all artistes and you're making a wonderful tale of literature or some bullshit like that, right? So you need to have a mechanic that can do that. D&D doesn't have that mechanic. No role-playing game has that mechanic. So again, you see how the RPG as it exists today, the normal, regular RPG, is not made for that. Now,
you haven't given me any reason Why?
Yeah.
Of course it's not made for that because no one else agrees that that's what you need to do.
I don't... Okay. First off, literature. Written works, especially those considered of superior or lasting artistic merit, or books and writings published on a particular subject, or leaflets and other printed matter used to advertise products or give advice. Any of that? No one's trying to make fucking literature.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to make a spell book.
Unless you're trying to make a spellbook, or you're literally trying to use this as a campaign setting and then writing out a campaign setting because of what you've made, sure.
It's literally, it goes back to the thing of D&D as expected, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Harry Potter, stuff like that.
Sure.
D&D as it plays out, It's Always Sunny in the Forgotten Realms.
Sure. But like,
and
still.
I think he's saying, like, if you think D&D, if you think It's Always Sunny in the Forgotten Realms is okay, then that's not story, and you're playing wrong.
I really hope that's not what he's saying, because I don't understand.
It's kind of what I'm picking up on.
If that is what he's actually saying, then that's fucking stupid. Like, I just don't know. Excuse me. Oh god. My fucking body. I really don't know what the fuck he's trying to say with this. Personally, I can't wrap my mind around, because if I keep bringing up this counter argument to what he's saying, I don't understand what he's saying. Still. Because I think I know what he's saying, and then I make an argument for it, but then I'm like, I don't know. Are you beating a man of straw, or are you saying that there is a man who is not made of straw? I don't get it. I do want to know what he means about story later, though.
Yeah.
If you wanted to make it do that, what you'd have to do, first of all, is you'd have to not really care about the characters. The point no longer becomes going into your character's head. It becomes what's best for the story. The story has to take...
Why? Why can't what your characters want be best for the story?
Like...
What do you mean?
You know, I actually, went to this video just to see the comments. Yeah. It's all positive.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It's all positive.
What? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Do they have any insight as to what he's saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to see.
Okay, yeah, you look for that. I need to know what he means by story later, because I don't...
precedence above the characters, and it especially has to take precedence above the games. That means no goblins, lucky hits. It's the same problem as with story before, right? You can't have... Anytime that the mechanics would make for bad story in the opinion of the people in control of the story...
In the opinion of the people controlling the story. Okay, alright. Wait a minute here. Okay, so if you guys are playing a D&D session together, and something happens, like, I don't know, you're a part of a town, and, I don't know, something that you do brings about a giant explosion in the town, and the town throws you out because of that. Is that bad for the story?
No, I'd say that's good for the story. It means things are happening.
Yeah, exactly.
That's progression.
It gives me a reason to go out and do shit.
Okay, here's my other example. If you're in a town, in the same town, before the explosion happens, if you're in the town and you're fucking going around and buying shit because you want to make this super cool thing, is that bad for the story?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Right? Like,
no.
I can't think of an example where anything you do with your group would be bad for the story in your opinion. Other than, I guess, my character died, but then that's just being selfish.
Yeah.
So I found, I've read through all the comments on the video. And no, they're not all positive. Boo.
Oh, they're not?
Oh,
okay,
thank
the
God.
majority of the ones that I saw were all positive.
Literally the top comment is story doesn't go in at the beginning, story comes out at the end. It's not up to D&D to make a story. It's up to D&D to give you the tools to set the premise and then adjudicate player actions. What comes of it is the story.
I agree.
By
Okay.
one Scott Anderson.
I was really just
very
skimming.
good point, Scott.
Yes, good point, Scott.
The very bottom comment is what did you do that made you turn your back and leave America? To which Casimir Urbanski, the person who made this video, says, I foresaw North America becoming more and more socially oppressive.
Okay, so that's something to do entirely with nothing that we're talking about here.
Yeah,
gotcha.
No, I found it funny.
That's fair.
Okay then.
But like
a lot of the very positive videos seem like, you know how boomers always comment in like the exact same way on things on Facebook? Very good video and very useful also with like a weird Oxford comma.
Yes.
Yeah. Amen, period. Perfect video, period. This is my exact philosophy. No period.
Like, if this is your philosophy, I don't want you to play in my game.
Yeah.
It's the unexpected that leads to some of the best stories, and the story gamers provide themselves. And the story gamers deprive themselves of those stories.
The story gamers. I don't understand what this means. What is a story game? He said this before.
I think he's referring to the people who decide before beginning, middle, and end exactly how the campaign will go.
I suppose.
And because they're deciding everything is set in stone, there's no rule for off the cuff like weird random bullshit happening.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But there's also, like, he did say, he said specifically that some things developed into story games, which I'm now looking up what constitutes a story game. And it says...
Honestly, the books that he has seem more like story games.
I don't know, right?
It's the book saying, no, shut up, this is exactly what happens.
But he hasn't described them that way.
You're not qualified to make high literature. You can't write a story, but I can.
He hasn't described them that way, though. Because he said you play as a god and you just be a god, right? Like, that, like, and then the other one is, I don't know, it's got really deep political shit, and also War of the Roses time. But, okay, so story games...
I do like the same person.
Oh yeah.
The same person that said it's the unexpected that leads to some of the best stories. That guy also has a comment saying, "Isn't fighting your own family members a bit too realistic for an RPG?"
What? Okay, so a simple and catchy term for narrativist games. This allowed a way to promote these types of games without having to deal with the baggage of Forge forums, blah 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 blah. Story games forums. Oh, there's a link. Oh, this is the image that I find.
Oh boy, show it.
I will. I don't. Story games community.
Oh, no.
I'm clicking it. Story games has ended. All right, let me put this up. There we go. That should be seen now. Great Story Games Archives. What is this? Where am I?
Why is this all in HTML?
By the way, Trail of Cthulhu, I found that is another Cthulhu game that is using the Investigator rule set, which is like a whole different thing, which I actually want to look into because it sounds interesting.
So
okay,
I clicked on a random thread saying, "What did you play this week?"
Yeah.
And literally one of the replies is started to play D&D 5e Lost Minds of Pal Vander.
Oh.
Which I think is supposed to be Fandelver, but
it's Fandelver, yes.
Yeah. Either way, though, I do find it funny that on StoryGames.com they have D&D.
D&D stuff, yeah, I know.
And right below that, D&D 5e Out of the Abyss and Call of Cthulhu Shadows of Yog-Sothoth.
So, what are those doing on there, buddy? What are they doing there? Huh?
I don't know, man. They suck at making story. They shouldn't be being used. These people are making a mistake.
It's very strange. Okay. Let's push on.
I've not found anyone yet playing his products.
Let's push on.
Then the mechanics, the game loses. The story wins. You have to choose one or the other, either game or story.
What?
So if the story is the point, and you want to make the best possible story, that means that you're not really playing a game.
I wonder if let me posit something.
Hurt this guy.
Yeah, I know. Let me posit something really quickly here. I think what he's saying overall is that D&D is not like writing a book.
Yeah, no shit.
I think that's what he's saying, and I think that's his entire point.
Yeah.
And yes, I know it's no shit. I don't understand if this is his point. I don't understand where he got it. Like in the sense of like who said D&D is like writing a book to him. I don't know if that's even something that was said to him. I think that's what he's trying to tell me. Well, and I can only be here sitting. I can only sit here and say so many times.
Well,
right.
The thing is he made a point earlier saying like when you have a character, a defined character, who has their own interests, you can't progress the story because the character has their own desires.
Right.
And yeah, you will sometimes have a time when you're like, man, oh man, I know in my heart of hearts that right there is the big bad evil guy, and I should stab him in his smug face right now, but my character would have no reason to do that.
Sure.
Yeah. And he's saying that right there is a flaw of D&D, but I would count that as one of its strengths.
I was gonna say, you're dealing with your own
having
situation.
Internal conflict of interest is part of what makes D&D exciting.
Quite literally, I've retired 2 characters just because of that. Right? Because they were not a part, and I'm bringing back one because it makes more sense for him to come back. Like, but I retired him initially because, like, there was no reason for him to stay because everything they were doing was dangerous and fucking crazy. Right? And he didn't want to do that shit. But now he's like, fuck, I kind of need those crazy people so I can stay safe and not die.
And right? Also, like, part of the DM's responsibility is to make... to provide situations that you as a player and you as a character would both find engaging.
Absolutely. Immersive, one would say.
Yes. One would dare say that that's the whole point of role-playing games. It's not storytelling, but immersion.
Oh my god. I
don't know. And personally, I would way rather be part of a story that I don't feel particularly like... I don't feel like I'm there boots on the ground.
Sure.
But if I'm able to just kind of sit there and enjoy it, a good story with my friends that I helped mold.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I'm not fully immersed, I can still have a lot of fun with that.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need full immersion. You don't need it.
Not every game has to run on the Unreal Engine.
No. It's still a story. I don't know what you're saying, sir, when you say that it's bad.
But no, dude, because the story wins.
Oh, right, the story wins, so the mechanics are obsolete. So then just go to your friend and go say...
Wins, players lose, go home.
Well, literally, if you don't like the fucking mechanics, then go to your friend and go say, we're gonna make a story together, and then just talk to each other and figure out characters and write it down and stop using the fucking systems. Make a story. Write a book, you fuck.
I wrote 2, at least.
These are not books. These are...
This is literature.
This is no. Well, yes, okay. This is literature, I would say, yes, but they are not in themselves. I would say that they probably do have story elements in them themselves.
Yeah,
I guess
they are a bound collection of pages, hence they are a book.
Yes,
a collection of empty pages is still a book. And
what I mean
is literature because it fits the definitions.
I agree. And I guess what I mean to say is that if you want to do that, then write yourself a novel.
Yes.
A novel and not a setting in order to role play in. And don't put a system, don't make a system either. Make a novel if you just don't like the idea of I roll the dice and now something different happens than I wanted.
This guy right here is the epitome of what I imagine would happen if David Cage tried making D&D modules.
Oh no. Oh, you're so
Isn't
right.
it?
Oh, you're
Isn't it?
so right. Oh my god, make a movie, David. Stop making video games, David. Just go make a fucking movie, David.
Stop petting the small girls, David.
Please God, David, stop making it so that you should. Oh god, why is there always a love interest when you do? Why does it push me to make a love interest when I don't want a love interest, David?
Yeah, no, this guy's literally. This guy probably loves Heavy Rain.
Oh jeez.
Oh god.
All right, let's push on. I want to hear story later. My god, please get to story later.
Yeah.
If you're playing the game, if the game takes precedence over story, then you're not really telling a story.
Fucking
So this is the paradox, and this is why people don't get that. And the other thing is that they think, well, but why? If I have all these stories about the campaigns I played in, right? But that's what's called story later, right?
What?
Oh my god. Can we stop with this video now?
No. I need it. I need the rest.
For our listeners at home,
fucking need
I'm
it.
just going to provide a disclaimer. Like, heretofore, I've tried to take this video at least somewhat seriously and provide actual thoughts and criticisms.
I have to.
And the more I hear him talking about how game versus story, and the more I think about how it's literally just David Cage, I'm just kind of checking out at this point. I'll watch the video, but don't expect me to take it seriously.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. We'll get. I just want to hear his.
That's my disclaimer.
Honestly, I just want to hear his story later thing, and maybe just skip ahead a bit, and then we'll be done with it. Honestly.
Why did he talk about story before, during, and after, and then he talks about story before and during, and he's like, these are the two ways you can play, but you can't play story after. And then he immediately says, oh, but that's story after.
I don't know.
Talking about a time he played a game with his friends.
Well, no. See, he's saying that if you say something about talking about a game after the fact, that is story after.
Okay.
Right? That is what he means by it, but that implies that you made a fucking story.
That there has been a story.
You fucking clod. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Here we go.
man.
Here we go.
Story later means this: you're playing in a campaign. It's not a novel. It's not a TV series. It's not season something of whatever,
no shit
or whatever stuff that is. Right? It's an RPG campaign, and in the campaign, events are happening in the world at the time they're happening. You're not making a story. You're living through an experience.
What?
If you in real life had gone to Syria and you'd been there during the bombings, right? If you were, I don't know, a medic in Syria, and there was, bombings all over the place, you had, ISIS moving in and invading, you saw people die around you. You weren't telling a story about Syria. You were in goddamn Syria, right? You were there.
Okay, hold on.
What?
But it doesn't change the fact that if you go out to buy fucking cucumbers or some shit, I don't know, and while you're there and there's a suicide bomber at the market and you survived it, and then you move to America and you're like, hey guys, let me tell you about what happened Tuesday afternoon.
Let me tell you a
goddamn
story.
That's a fucking story.
Yeah.
What the fuck is with this guy?
I don't understand.
You, as players sitting down at a fucking table and going, hey guys, we're going to have a world in which there's suicide bombers, yada yada yada, and the players go out and they're buying armor and then, oh my god, zombie attack or whatever. That's a fucking story. That's you and your players making a story, not you and your characters making a story. Your characters are in the story.
It's like I'm talking to someone who is not self-aware that they are a person. Like I don't understand. Like it's like I'm talking to somebody who thinks that they themselves are a character inside of a book, and so they cannot change anything about their life because they know for a fact that they were written this way, and they cannot do anything about the written word. Right?
Hell, even Deadpool,
right?
Deadpool can change shit. Jesus.
Exactly.
I swear to Christ, if this guy ever publishes a fucking memoir and he says the story of my life, I will scream.
Cause like your experiences, by the way, guess what? If you're from fucking Syria and you experienced those fucking bombs, fuck you, you don't have a story. Fuck you. You had an experience.
Yeah. You were part of an event, hence you recounting it is a story.
No, it's not. Clearly.
Yeah, D&D sucks at making story. By the way, so does life, apparently.
I was gonna say!
Oh my god.
Please tell me about story later, you fuck.
But D&D is not like life. Oh no, sorry, D&D is like life because immersion is the whole point of an RPG. The longer this video goes, the more I hear Heavy Rain, and the more I hear Beyond Two Souls.
Going through this hellfire, right? So this is a thing that was actually happening to you in real time. When you're running a D&D campaign, you're not telling a story. You're not supposed to be above it all. You're not supposed to have decided beforehand. And it's not, the point isn't the story that comes out at the end. The point is the experience you're living in that moment, the moment of playing. That's the point where you're in there, and in a really good campaign, which usually has to be a long campaign. And you can check out my video about running long campaigns on the channel.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, hell no.
In a long campaign, then there comes moments where you are so deep into the game that your character starts doing stuff you didn't expect. Because your character's taking on a life of its own.
Sure.
Okay, that I find fair.
Starts feeling so incredibly real, right? Like to the DM, there can be moments where the world starts doing things he didn't expect. He doesn't plan it. He doesn't even logically realize it until it's about to happen, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense to happen in this world."
Right? That can also happen in session 1.
And it's coming out of some other place. You could call it the astral plane or whatever you want to, right? But it's this transcendent experience.
What?
That's the goal of the RPG.
To be a transcendent experience?
So does that mean that like you're out buying cucumbers at the shops, right?
I love cucumbers.
And you're like, man, guys, these are some really awesome cucumbers.
They're really
nice. And then
nice.
all of a sudden, like, a space whale invades out of the astral plane, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck is happening? And you look at the DM, and then the DM's like, I don't know what's happening.
I have no fucking idea. If anybody buys cucumbers, this just happens.
It's
apparently.
Like, okay, have either of you played fucking Knights of Pen and Paper?
No.
Okay, because that fucking happens in Knights of Pen and Paper. Like, what? Inside the game... No, but like the main villain of the game, like, it comes to life in the game, and it's like the DM's like, oh fuck, I didn't mean for the real fucking villain to happen. What?
I can have things where like a player choice that comes completely out of nowhere kind of blindsides me, as such it changes the resolution of an event, which as such causes ripples that change the world state as a whole, sometimes drastically. Yeah, that's fine, but that's still something where the DM knows what's going on, oftentimes still better than the players, because if the DM is tracking all right, this NPC's in this country, this NPC's in this country,
Right.
yada yada yada, and the players fuck up and cause a war,
Sure.
then the DM is still going, okay, so what's happening to the NPC in this country has changed like this because with mobilization of armies or tolls or stuff like that, yada yada yada,
Sure.
that the players are not aware of. And that is the story as a whole changing. That is neither good nor bad for the story.
Mm-hmm.
It is just the story changing.
Yes. I agree. I agree entirely, and I think that's good. And I think I just almost have had enough of this guy. Just almost. Almost. We're almost there. 'Cause like
Where do you find these fucking things, Alejo?
Dude, I have no idea how I found this. I just did one day, clicked on it, and was like, okay, this is good. I only watched a few minutes of it, and I didn't know how, oh my god.
How far into insanity he descended.
Exactly, dude. I just, like, it's like, okay,
This guy's been fucking breathing his weak old cocoa fumes.
Oh, he's fucking high off his own farts, you're right. Like, legitimately, I think this guy thinks of stories as just written words. I think that's all he thinks of them as. He doesn't
story is strict and has one pathway.
Exactly. I don't think that he even has the entertained notion that you can call something that you make with your friends like that a story, and if it's happening in real time, it can't be a story somehow because it has to have happened.
Artistes.
Exactly, unless you're an artiste.
And know the perfect ways to create characters that have no free will of their own, and are simply puppets for you to control.
The guy.
Well, I mean, yeah, technically characters don't have free will of their own because they don't exist, and there are technically puppets. But there are times when you, as a player, go, "Wow, this is best for the story," but I can't do that.
Right. Exactly. Does
story happen later? Well, yes, because in the same way that when you've gone to war, or when you've gone fishing, or when you've gone to play golf, after you've lived out the experience, there are some of those experiences that you have stories to tell about. Now, people who've gone fishing 52 times or played golf 100 times probably don't have 52 or 100 stories of golf or fishing, right?
Why not?
And maybe if you've gone
why wouldn't they?
There's no war where you're not going to have some story to tell.
Dude, a bunch of my friends all go golfing, and let me assure you, every Monday morning I find out what their day of golf was like. I assure you they do. You do not have friends who golf, sir.
No, sir, you must bow down to almighty Urbanski. He knows all.
Every time I walk to the back office of where we work and I see a paper with tally marks on two sides of it as to whose team won, and I hear Josh bitching about how he lost yet again and how Ray and Chris were cheating, I assure you I get filled in on the story.
But no, you don't understand that story later.
Yeah, that story later.
No, and that story past. Fuck you.
That's what he said. Yeah, story fucking later is story past, dude. It's that experience after the fact, apparently.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
All of existence is one linear story.
Apparently.
And when you have a setting, all you can do is actually zoom in. Oh my god, that's what he's doing. He's viewing a D&D campaign like before it starts as if it's already finished.
I know.
And all you can do is take the timeline of his beautifully crafted world as a whole and zoom in to the point where it's like, oh, Napoleon's a child and you can interact with him, but little do you know he will be a warlord later in life. And all you can do is zoom in and kind of witness it and scroll a long time, but apparently never get to interact with the world.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Isn't that fantastic? All right, we're done with this. We're done with this fucking video. I'm done with it.
Yay.
It's fucking garbage. It's so fucking garbage. I just don't understand.
We knew that from the title alone.
Yeah, well, I didn't know it would be that bad. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
so when does he say that's okay though? That D&D is bad at story.
Oh, you're right. Oh, fuck. We need to know when it's okay. Oh,
Because
fuck.
I'm kind of getting back in there now.
All right. Okay. Boo's fucking checking out so hard.
No. Oh my god.
If in fact you want to. But you probably were at war. You know, if you were at war for 600 days, you might have 6 stories to tell out of that. Right?
What in the fuck?
I actually can't believe you right now. I actually can't believe. I can't believe you exist. You are not a person on this fucking planet. You are not an actual human being.
Oh.
How do you exist, AI?
Every ounce of oxygen just like left my brain. Oh, okay.
What in the fuck? What the fuck?
If you have 600 days of fucking war, you only have 6 stories.
Yeah, you only tell one story about every 100 days of being at fucking war.
Jesus
there's
Christ.
the time Joe shat in the stew, but nothing else really of note. Oh, what's that? How did I lose the arm? Not important.
I can't.
Oh, God,
I don't believe that this person is real.
Is this a bit?
No, I hope fucking so.
Oh my god.
He is, and let me quote, he is self-proclaimed final boss of the internet shitlords.
Oh, wow.
This is even in his fucking description for his channel.
Okay, that's bullshit right now. We all know that the final boss of the internet shitlords is Filthy Frank. We all know this.
Yeah. But also, here's an interesting...
more coherent than this.
Here's an interesting note. Blogger, author of multiple RPGs, helped make 5e D&D.
Okay.
Mostly here for rants and reviews. Yeah, you say, yeah, go on. Have fun. You know what? Oh, hey.
What the fuck is his name?
His name is Kazimir Urbanski, I think. Let's look him up.
It's like a play tester or something.
I don't know. Let's look him up. Oh.
Cuz I got the fucking, what's it called here?
The actual player's handbook.
Yeah, I got the player's handbook, and I want to see if there's a playtester area in this. Playtester.
He has a Twitter. Oh boy.
Oh good.
It also says helped make D&D 5e. When? Who are you, sir?
Yeah.
How?
Okay, so let's put it this way.
Yeah.
In the player's handbook, very first page, before even the contents, D&D lead designers. He's not there. Handbook lead. Nope. Rules development. Nope. Writing. Nope. Editing. Nope. Producers. Nope. Art directors. No. Graphic designers. No. Cover illustrator. No. So, no, you didn't help make it.
I don't know. Apparently, somebody else noticed that he's gone off the deep end in 2016. That's neat.
Here it is.
Oh, you found him.
Additional consultation provided by the RPGPundit.
That's him. What?
Additional consultation.
Oh man, he got consulted.
Oh man.
Okay, sure. Okay, well, you know.
Whatever the fuck consultation means.
Yeah,
here's the thing. Here's a very big asterisk for that. Just because you are consulted does not mean that your advice is actually used.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god.
I mean, I hope they helped in the sense he helped in the sense of like they were like, yeah, none of what you say, we're not using any of it, dude.
Yeah, no. Your
Like,
ideas are fucking retarded, so yeah, you helped in the sense that we are not going to use a goddamn thing.
Don't know, man. I just realized that I need to resize things later on because I've just realized that some things are like off a bit, and that's gonna bug me. It's gonna
Well,
bug
hey,
other
at
people,
least
too.
you don't have a fucking double boiler in front of your videos,
dude. Right? Like that's fun. By the way, I've remembered now. This is gonna be coming out on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Get fucked. I don't know. But like,
yeah.
Jeez. All right. Let's continue on. We can catch him up a little bit. Let's see.
Yeah.
So most of it was something you were just living. And the story that happens later is just kind of the highlight of something really exciting and really memorable. The same way that you make stories out of real life. So the point of an RPG isn't to make the story. The story's a byproduct that happens later. The point of an RPG, and if you want to maximize your experience of playing in an RPG in a way that's really satisfying, forget about making story, whether you're the player or whether you're the DM. Just focus on living the characters and letting the events work themselves out through the world.
All right, to a degree, I agree. In the sense that if you are focused on quite literally making the best story possible, then like you're not going to be playing your character. You're going to be doing something weird in the sense of like, but at the same time, what if your character wants to make the best story for himself?
Yeah, what if your character wants to become king by his own hand and needs to have like a fucking legend behind him?
Exactly.
Sometimes people absolutely have to have a story about themselves.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. What if that's the case? And so you've got those people that are just like, I'm gonna go and make a name for myself, right? And that's a story. They're making a story. I don't understand still. What do you mean? Ah! Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
And directing, if you're the DM, you direct those events based on what's happening in the events, not based on your ideas of what sounds cool in terms of literature. Trust your dice rolls, trust random events, trust all of that sort of thing. You know, you can have a chronology of stuff that's going to happen, but not because it's a story, but because it's a future history. And
what the fuck?
Okay, history.
Oh boy.
Definition. A whole series of past events connected with someone or something. And what was story again? Let's see. Story.
Not that, clearly.
No, it wasn't, obviously. An account of an account of past events in someone's life or in the evolution of something. A whole series of past events or an account of past events.
Not the same.
Those events could be vastly modified by things your players do, too, right? And you should let them be. You shouldn't try to control the story.
No shit. No one is arguing for you to railroad. I don't know where this guy has found his straw man, but he apparently got him back and then fucking chokeslammed him again. Man, oh man, is he good at it. Welcome back, Aiden. So he's still going on.
I had to pee before, and then I damn near pissed myself.
That's totally fine. Legitimately, he's just been going on and on
about more worthless bullshit.
Yes, he's basically still like I agreed with him with one thing of like if you should not only care for what is good for the story, you should just go with what's good for characters. I agree, but that itself can make the story better. So
yeah,
yeah.
Plus, we brought up the point of if you're just trying to make a good story, well, what if your character is trying to do that? Right, like that's his whole reason to do his things.
What if you're playing a paladin that hates the undead and your primary enemy is a lich?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just And he then said it's not a story when you tell it again, it's a history, which is a whole series of past events connected with someone or something, whereas a story is an account of past events in someone's life or the evolution of something. I don't know how. I mean, yes, it's technically different a little bit, but it's also a story, you fuck.
Yeah, like
So I hope
sorry, go on.
There's a point that was made in the Castle Super Beast podcast.
Okay.
Actually, one of their most recent episodes. It's episode 50 something or whatever. In which they're actually talking about David Cage, and one of the co-hosts, Pat, mentions that there are some people who miss the forest for the trees, but David Cage, and I think to an extent this guy, is the sort of person who misses the trees for the forest. Like, he's like trying to find the trees, and he's like, well, there's a forest there. But I don't see any but there's no trees.
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
it's like you're missing all the stories that occur like in daily life and daily bullshit,
Exactly.
and ignoring and just saying, oh, but there is only one story in my campaign, and that is this.
It's my fucking magnum opus, dude.
Yeah. There is only 6 stories in my 2 years at war.
Yep.
Only 6 things happened to me.
Only 6 things.
I didn't meet anyone. I didn't say hi to anyone.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to anyone. I just existed.
Yep. In stasis.
Yeah, somehow.
The food was bland. It had no taste.
Yeah, I didn't even have any meals. I just was. I
sat down after marching, and I just stayed there, neither awake nor asleep.
Until
for
the
the
next
entire
battle.
War.
Yeah.
Except for every 100 days we had a battle, and I powered up and regained consciousness.
Oh my god.
cleared things up for you. For those of you watching. For those of you who
Fuck off.
I hope
this cleared up.
Fuck
off.
Let that change how you play your games.
No.
And that you'll find it'll make your games
don't.
A lot more interesting. It's harder to do it this way.
Oh, is it? Is it?
Fucking
Again, I agree if you're not playing the game as a character and you're playing it as a person above everything, sure, then don't do that and play the game as a fucking character. Absolutely, that'll make your fucking experience so much better. Absolutely.
Every character should be a Mary Sue self-insert.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God.
But it's way better. Because things that actually happen are way better than stories.
What the fuck?
Adventures that you live are a lot
I
more
have no
exciting
words.
than stories that you've told, right? Or that you've
What
heard.
the fuck?
So
I don't even need to mock it.
If you're a DM,
He does
you
it
can
himself.
do this.
I
And if you're a
know.
player, it's even easier. You just have to find a DM willing to do it, and that isn't willing to isn't insisting on imposing story on you.
Oh my god.
All right, actually, no. That point is fair because it sounds like find a DM who doesn't want to railroad you.
Yes, I agree. I agree
But
But I
entirely.
guarantee you, that's not even what he means.
I
It's
also
not.
guarantee that
It's what
as
he
well.
says, but not what he means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I don't get you, sir. I don't. Oh, by the way, we also looked in the book, and apparently he was actually consulted for
Yeah.
additional stuff on 5e. Consulted, which means anything. And they probably threw it all out.
That can mean we had him in the office for a day.
Yes.
Said, "What do you think about story?" He said, "I think that story should not be a thing."
Or something.
And
He
that's,
said
like,
something.
you should not be allowed to make your own story because you're not an artiste.
Yeah.
And they said, Okay, thank
Okay,
you very
bye.
much, sir. Don't call us, we'll call you. And then,
Exactly.
like, a year later, he was in a bookshop, and he's D&D 5e.
And it's got him in there. In fact, it's got
Yeah.
RPG fucking pundit or whatever.
What the fuck is pundit anyway?
I don't
even know what that word
care.
means.
I
Pundit's
don't
actually,
fucking
pundit
care.
is actually a word. Let me get a precise definition.
Yeah,
Please
I know
do.
it's a word.
Please,
An expert in a
actually.
particular subject or field who is frequently called on to give opinions about it to the public.
Jesus
Fucking
Christ.
bullshit.
Wow. Like,
Wow.
I
Jeez.
legitimately looked up his name as well, and there are a couple articles that were like, he went off the deep end. Quite literally. So I don't know.
Shit.
I don't know.
I would have
So, if
never
you like this
guessed.
video, please share it everywhere. Talk about it.
Okay, it's
discuss
over.
it.
Oh, fuck it.
So
Wait,
when
there's
does
still
he say
3
that's okay?
minutes! How is
When does he
this?
say that that's okay?
Yeah, you haven't said that it's okay.
Talk to me about what you thought about it. Post about it in social media. Share
No.
it everywhere.
I will
please.
not.
And be sure, if you
I will
haven't already,
not.
to subscribe to this channel.
I
No.
will
Past
definitely not.
1,000 members, and the more we get, the more often I'll use videos.
Great.
Make videos, rather. The more often we'll have live streams. I'll try
He's
to
still
announce
making
them
videos, by
beforehand.
the way.
And if you want to be supportive of me, you
No.
can. I mean, I've got a Patreon page, so you can.
That's good
can
for
go
you,
to there
man.
if you want. But what I really suggest is you check out my products. I mean, obviously my big books like Lion and Dragon, Lords of Olympus.
Also, who
Dark
literally just
Albion.
uses a fucking pipe as a pointer?
I know.
Who's not
That
trying to
is
be a Sherlock
so
Holmes ripoff?
so fucking pretentious.
He's
Like,
an artiste, though.
Feels
you're
like he's
right.
being condescending, even though like I'm not seeing the pipe most of the time.
I
And I
know.
held off
Oh,
on mentioning it
absolutely.
earlier because I was like, whatever, I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt.
Oh no,
But,
I
like,
know. I know what you
no.
mean. He's been like swirling it around and shit, and oh my god.
Also, is that his mic on the foreground, like reflected in the pot?
Yeah, I think so.
Just a blue mic on a featureless table.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, probably.
Arrows of Indra, Cults of Chaos. Those are all great books that you can pick up.
No, they're not.
You know,
I mean, they might
unlike-
be. I don't
might
know.
be.
supposed industry professionals who work for 2 pennies a word, right? I actually
What?
get royalties off of my work, so
Okay, cool. Good for you. We're not gonna watch the rest of this. He's just shilling.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care, sir. And
Jesus.
also, like, you literally just disrespected so many people who make hard work, like, who make things. Go
Yeah.
fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself, actually, like, with a cactus, you goddamn... Oh... You don't just put people down...
No, but they're not artistes, Alejo. They don't.
Oh my god. Okay, well, while you guys pull up the next video, I need to go and use the restroom.
Yeah,
I'll be back.
yeah, go for it, man. Take
Yeah.
your break. Take a break.
Jesus fucking
I
Christ.
just need a second here just to like fucking just deflate or inflate. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, no, I feel.
I think it's
is-
both.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. There's like some videos where it's laughable, and like don't get me wrong, like this was definitely worth a laugh, but like
Yes. We were able to at least
it
bring up
I
points.
I feel hollow, thin, like butter scraped on too much bread.
Bilbo Baggins. He's a good man.
How many stories do you think he thinks are in The Hobbit?
1.
Is it 1, 2,
I think
3?
I think he thinks it's 1. I legitimately think that he would think that it is 1 story. And that Bilbo doesn't go through multiple stories
or
at
does
all.
or does it not qualify
No, I think he would think
as
that any
a story?
I think that he would say that any book qualifies as a story. I think that it's just that it's not a system, that it's a story. I think that I don't know. I just
I mean, on one side, don't get me wrong, I do get like overall as a whole, because I'll say like, oh, the story of my campaign is this,
sure.
and that's fine, because you do have an overarching arc.
Yeah, of course.
But have smaller stories too.
Of course, that's just a part of it. Like, legitimately, overcoming the smallest hurdle in itself is a story that is part of a greater narrative.
Like, what will always be one of my favorite stories is how well in The Lord of the Rings, when when Frodo's trying to leave the Shire, how well they build up the dread of the ring wraiths.
Absolutely.
And
Today's
how
great.
Frodo and Sam and Merry and Pippin all like outsmart the ring wraiths over the period of like months.
Yeah.
By using like I think it was either Merry or Pippin. I think it was Pippin though, as like a body double for Frodo.
Yeah. That's right.
And
yeah.
like that was so fucking cool.
Absolutely.
And that's a really cool story.
Absolutely, it is. But it's only one.
Yeah.
There's only one story.
It's like this guy read like Where the Wild Things Live as a kid, and he was like, "Oh, this is a story. It goes from one cover to the next." And then like
The Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, well, The Great Expectations. Oh, well, this is one story because it is
Goes
in
cover
between
to
two
cover.
covers."
Yeah.
What's that? Multiple characters have their own arcs and story? No, that's not a story.
Right. I don't understand.
Sips cocoa.
That fucking mug, dude. Oh my god. I've already lost my voice slightly. This fucking guy. Oh my god. It's okay. It's okay. Next we get something that's not entirely offensive, thankfully.
Yeah. This is XP to level 3, isn't it?
No, it's not. This is taking 20.
Oh.
My personal nemesis.
Yeah, dude, I'm like looking at your source channel.
Yep.
And I just see taking 20, taking 20, taking.
It's because every now and again he says
How to
something
be a
that I'm
great
like,
game master, and I'm like, oh.
It's because every now and again he says something that I'm like, I don't agree,
taking
or
20, taking 20, another taking 20.
Like, I just don't agree with some of the stuff he says. Other stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's good for discussion. We can talk about it. But like some of the stuff, I'm like, what are you doing here, man? Like,
there's even things like XP to level yeah, it was XP to level 3, I think.
Yeah.
Where he's like,
He also had a video that I was immediately like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Do you remember that skit a while back of XP to level 3 did where he was playing the wizard and he was like,
Which
negate
one?
magic.
Oh yeah, counterspell or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, counter.
No, dispel magic. Excuse me.
Dispel magic. Yeah.
I fucking hated it.
Yeah, no, it was stupid.
It wasn't
usually
funny.
like so many of his.
Same.
Dude, I fucking loved his warlock video where he's talking about the different kinds of warlock and like humorous ways to talk about the class, and he's just like, I don't like this one spell, hence the whole class is bad. And then because of that, wizards are dumb and they should be removed from the game because I know myself how to make an entire playing system better than a whole board of people.
I just don't. Maybe we should do that one instead. The wizards are dumb one. Because like I remember watching that and
I'm definitely gonna get angry if we watch that.
Dude, me too. It's fucking bad. It's a bad video.
By the way, is this going to be counted as intermission or
I think this is just going to be B-roll as we're still alive, honestly.
Okay.
Hi. Oh, by the way, don't forget to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day, because this is coming out then. Get fucked.
Or don't if you do not wish. Or do if you do wish. Oh man, dude, I feel like a deflated balloon.
I know, I do too.
And not just like a regular deflated balloon, but like one that a 3-year-old kid has tried to like inflate multiple times, so it's just filled with spit.
Yes, it's disgusting.
Yeah. I am empty and moist inside. I
let's
move
see.
and I hear squeaking.
All right. Well, maybe we could. Oh man, maybe instead of this one, we can do a different taking 20 video. I don't know.
There's.
Because
there's
like
one
I'm not
more.
really too strict about what we do next here. Because that was that I'm like at the moment I'm just like Jesus Christ, you know. This guy. Yeah, my options here, of course, are the tiers of D&D players, which I think just kind of offended me in the sense of like you're using a scale and you're using something that can be used as like people go and say you are a worse tier than I am,
Yeah,
and without like
only
but
tier
you've
3 players and up in my campaign.
exactly
Thank you.
like you've said that, but you've also said that this is just a guideline and it shouldn't be used that way, but you've made it, so I don't understand your
Yeah.
point, right?
And your title is as a whole very much implying that it is to
This
be
is
used
this
as a
is the
measuring
thing.
stick.
Exactly. There's that, then there's the house rules thing from Dungeon Dudes. Then there's his other video that I literally just watched, which was the best two D&D classes for a 2-person campaign.
That literally depends so
I know.
definitively upon how the campaign
And
is being
like
built, though.
And like
I would say
he puts it as a joke of like this is definitively the best ones, obviously, but at the same time, he just kind of brushes over other things in the video, which is really annoying to me. So I don't get it.
I mean, I would personally say Warlock and Rogue, or Warlock and Druid, or Druid and Rogue, simply because
I think he puts like Druid and something else.
Yeah, simply because like at 2 people you don't have enough people to reliably fight off a lot of people. Hence combat.
Hello.
Welcome back. He poises it as a campaign in which combat is the majority, because that's all he talks about, except for like one combination that's for roleplay, right? But I also go like, why not just make it so that it's the best of both worlds for combat and roleplay, right? But the thing is, you can roleplay with any class, so and you can do combat fine with any class as long as you're dungeon master. It's all dependent on the fucking dungeon master.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Like,
anyway.
Like literally you can just say like, oh well, I think a rogue would be good because with 2 people we're likely going to be outnumbered a lot. So
exactly.
doing something with which we can like even the action economy of the fight would be good. And then the DM just okay, fuck you, everyone has true sight.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
you could get into that fucking or we can do
100% the DM.
Absolutely. Or we could do why your Dungeons and Dragons villains suck, because that struck a nerve with me. I remember that much. It's again.
Let's give that one a shot.
That one? Okay. Cool. Okay. Let's do that one. All right.
Blue, what do you think?
I have no opinion. I just came back.
All right.
I'm down for whatever.
Okay, cool. As long as you're down for whatever and you can't complain otherwise. Sick.
Yeah.
I'm also just going to say this now, just as a chance for me to soapbox a bit.
Heroes
because I'm not sure how relevant it'll be in this video. But given that the theme of this podcast as a whole this week is storytelling as a whole, not only in D&D or in RPGs, but in media.
Yes.
I am so fucking tired of people using subversion of expectations as an excuse for shitty writing.
Yeah, no one stopped being tired since like 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, for me the first big one was Game of Thrones season 8.
Yep, there's also that. Yep.
And they're like, yeah, we wanted to subvert expectations, and I'm like, no, dude, you just tried to wrap everything up quickly and shittily, and you're saying, oh, well, you didn't expect it, hence it's good, and it's like the reason why we didn't expect it is because it makes no sense.
There's also
and you're doing this with Star Wars now, a fucking lot now.
The unfortunate fact is that also the argument that they have, the people that defend that shit, is also the it's not what you wanted, so it's bad to you, and that's not even the argument
you know what?
whatsoever.
Yeah, you're right. It's not what I wanted. What I wanted was a good ending.
Exactly.
But
It's
instead
not...
we get Deus Ex Machina out of fucking nowhere.
It's again, like Star Wars. I've seen so much on that of like people are just like fucking. I agree that it's fucking bad, right? like there's I don't think any of the newer Star Wars stuff is good. I don't care.
Yeah,
I will talk about that with other people if they want to, but I know for a fact, personally, that it is just bad.
Yeah.
And not just personally, excuse me, entirely so.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
Yes.
Like, and people are like, oh, well, it's meant for kids, and it's
oh, fuck you with that argument.
Like,
I always hate that.
Just because it's meant for kids doesn't mean that you can write things badly.
It's the same thing for any kids show.
Yep.
In fact, because it's for kids, and as such, kids are little sponges.
Yep.
It's because it's for kids that you should write it better.
The best, so that they are inspired and also like are actually like that they are actually inspired to produce content the same way, right?
Yeah.
Because if they go through and they go, oh, this is shitty, then you know, if a kid goes, it's shitty.
Media is enjoyed by turning your brain off and enjoying the
that's also
then...
Just turn your brain off. Well, excuse me, sir. I'm sorry, I'm not a fucking piece of wood. I can't do that, you piece of shit.
Some of us have more processes to turn off.
Yeah, anyway. That's a whole conversation.
Why our D&D villains suck.
Yeah, so this kind of goes with our theme. And again, I've said it before, I don't really enjoy most of the videos that come out of this guy, mostly because I just don't like the personality. But some of his videos, like this one, I was like, shut up. So, yeah, let's start from the beginning, because he says he has a titular beginning line.
Yeah,
it's great.
Heroes are boring. It's true. You can look at almost any
movie, the heroes
book, or story, and it's pretty obvious that at their core, heroes are as bland as cauliflower with your steak dinner. Sure.
So, can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Boring heroes are boring.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if your hero is boring, sure, fine. Yeah. But heroes in general are not boring. Yeah, and I think let's give him his second point, because I think that's part of it.
Sure, I mean, some of the things that they do can be exciting, but I'm talking about who they are, not what they are usually forced into doing.
Okay, so what they can do can be exciting. Absolutely. Yes. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that.
Punch the big guy real good.
Superman punched the big guy real good. Is Superman boring?
Yes.
Is he?
I would say so. He's a Mary Sue.
Okay, so
I don't really see Superman really get conflicted.
So
granted, I don't read the comics.
Exactly. There are I've heard
I could be wrong.
I've heard that there is a comic series line of which Superman is conflicted. I think, and I'm not entirely sure but that he's conflicted to the point where he doesn't want to do anything and he just walks the earth. Right?
Oh, what the fuck was that called? Oh, I remember it. Oh,
Boo's got it. Cool.
Oh,
but that is a whole thing of him being introspective on himself, right? Yeah. And I think it's because he's like trying to figure out if he's actually good for the world or not, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's what it was called. Superman Grounded.
There you go. Superman Grounded. That is apparently a very good series where it's actually using the character and making him interesting. So I don't think that Superman himself is boring. I think that he can be made to be interesting as a person, right? As a character.
In that case, I will edit my statement to due to how comic book characters and how they're portrayed oftentimes varies from artist to artist wildly. Superman, like most characters, has the potential to be interesting. However, the way in which he is represented generally is fairly lackluster.
I can agree with
That's fair
that.
to say.
I can agree with that. And yeah, I think that's more a detriment of writing,
Yes.
than anything else, which is just unfortunate and should be worked on. Then again, I haven't read many comics for like a while here of anything really. So I don't know how they're going right now.
And for me too is I just really need to hear his beginning point again.
Okay, sure.
Heroes are boring. It's true. You can look at almost any movie, book, or story, and it's pretty obvious that at their core, heroes are as bland as cauliflower with your steak dinner. Sure, I mean, some of the things that they do can be exciting, but I'm talking about who they are, not what they are usually forced into doing. And it's not their...
Sounds like you haven't read very many good stories then.
Yeah.
I would bring as the, in my opinion, the perfect counter to this would be One Punch Man.
Yep.
Okay,
One Punch Man is a character that is so insanely powerful that he finishes any fight with one punch, and he is bored. And his being bored is the entertaining aspect of the manga and anime as a whole. As well as him working his way through the world. And if you're watching that anime or reading that manga, literally looking only for the scenes where the One Punch Man punches someone on occasion, you are seriously depriving yourself of enjoying that show as a whole.
Totally.
Like, oh yeah, sure, the things he can do. Wow, yeah, he punches someone and it's over in like 0.15 seconds. Yay.
Right.
What about the 7 episodes before this that were leading up to this?
Exactly. Like that's the whole thing of I don't understand the statement because you haven't explored the entire character if you're just saying that the character is boring.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like sure, some characters can be more, I don't know, normal than other characters in the sense of like they're like you and me, right? They're just like a dude. That's boring, I guess. But I don't think that that's the case because you can also go, well, it's interesting that this character who later becomes a hero started out as such a simple person.
Yeah.
Right? Let's analyze that. Why not, you know?
Yeah.
Backstory
so I think has its merits.
I think it's incredibly reductive to just say that and generalizing to say that all heroes are just boring. Also, this is a great frame, by the way. I've just realized. It looks like a fucking high frog. But I think I've also now realized another part of this why I don't like these videos is he made that point way too fast. Yeah. He did not let that breathe, and it's not to the point of like movie Bob, right? It's not to that fucking point. I don't know if you guys know that. Okay.
No.
I'm
thank God
totally familiar with him because of Mullen.
Okay, yeah. Don't ever watch one of his videos because you will fucking explode. I watched a lot of them when I was like first watching YouTube and shit. Oh God. Oh, it's a bad.
I'm fucking sorry.
Yeah, it was bad.
You look back and cringe.
Oh, I do. But yes. It's not to that extent of like going a mile. It's not like a Yahtzee, but where Yahtzee like does like funny things, right? And he actually like pauses for jokes in a timing way, right?
Yeah.
Where it works. This, it's not to that extent, but it's also not slow enough for you to absorb it all at once. I don't think. Yeah. It's not good, dude.
It's just not good.
Personally, I have, in these 20 seconds, I have not really found anything worth faulting him for. I mean, the point itself was abysmal and, like you said, incredibly reductive and generalizing.
Yes.
But I, so far in these 20 seconds, have not had an issue with pacing.
No, I understand. I've just, after watching several of those videos over, like, all the way through, that's my problem. Because we're going to be pausing, so, you know.
What's that term called when, steamrolling.
Yes.
It's kind of what he's trying to do is kind of steamroll his videos, because I've seen a fair few of his videos, and as time has gone on, I've kind of generally lost interest in his stuff as his channel has taken a turn for the clickbaity and the why this sucks.
Yes.
And I need to fix it, and I will show you how to fix it.
I know. It's
and I get it. Dude's trying to make money. I get it. But it kind of turns me off.
Yeah, well, I mean, he gets sponsors and stuff. Like, I mean, you know, you can make money, but also make good content.
You can be like, hey guys, I have an idea.
Yeah,
I would like to pause it with you.
Exactly.
And
you can open
why your villains suck.
You can open the discussion.
You person looking at them on your villains suck.
Exactly. You can open a discussion without immediately putting down your viewer.
Yeah, without like going on the aggressive.
Exactly. Like what we try to do, hopefully.
Fault, because heroes are simply reactionary creatures. They are simply reacting to what the villain in the story, the truly interesting character, is doing. I've talked about this here.
Oh God. Don't get into Captain Marvel. It's
Don't
so
get into what? Sorry.
Captain
Captain
Marvel.
Marvel.
The movie is so bad.
Yeah, she's incredibly proactive.
You're right, and she's you're right, because she's the villain.
Yeah.
You fucking anyway. Yeah, okay, so let's so heroes are reactionary to villains.
Apparently that makes them boring.
Well, I guess apparently
I would say that makes them at least predictable at worst. But
yeah, I would say so.
If you're viewing the hero as a sort of not quite a perpetuation, but as like a representation of, say, the law and the police, then yeah, sure, it's reactionary, because
I guess so, yeah.
you cannot stop a crime before it happens without being horrible, a la Captain Marvel. And that's sort of a huge point of contention between her and other heroes, because she's like, well, they were going to commit a crime, so I killed them in front of their family. And the people are like, what the fuck, you can't do that. However,
it's the fucking thought crime movie, whatever that one was.
Minority Report.
Thank you, Minority Report. Thank you.
Yeah, also that one anime with the crime coefficient.
Don't know that one.
Crime coefficient. It was Psychopaths.
Oh, I've yet to watch that because I want to.
It's fairly decent. The premise is really cool.
Yeah, there's also a game, I think, as well.
Basically, there's sort of like metal detectors all over, like when you board a train, when you leave a train, when you go to work, when you leave work, stuff like that. And what they do is they scan your brain for like it's like levels of certain chemicals.
Okay.
And very basic thought processes. And they send police out to stop crimes before they happen.
Gotcha.
And the system as a whole is sort of being abused by the government.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's really cool premise.
Yeah.
Anyway, heroes are reactionary generally, sure, but a lot of like you're edgy anti-heroes. Batman, for instance,
he's not an anti-hero.
Literally researches villains and stops their crimes before they can do it, because he has, hard evidence. And just goes and like it kind of goes back to the Captain Marvel thing of like, oh, precognition, I knew they would do it, but
technically, actually, if you pay attention to what he does, he doesn't do it. He does it when he finds out about a plot, right? Like the villain has usually started their plan and something has tipped him off to it. So it's not a thought crime, it is an active, like, in progress thing.
And also, I guess, following that same process, then yes, he would be reactionary.
Yes.
But it's not like Batman is always waiting for the bank robbery to
No.
be like the robbers are in the getaway car when he decides to swoop in.
Exactly.
He absolutely will confront them while they're around their planning table going, all right, this is how the heist will go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. That is true. But again, I understand what he's saying, like, reactionary, sure, that's fine, but that's not like boring. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can't. It is the whole thing of like you can't have a conflict when you don't have an initiation of it.
Yeah.
Right. You can't have good and evil when the evil has not even been present. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you're not heroes anymore. Then you're
just there.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just there.
Like I think it's just part of the story.
Yeah.
Oh, story.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
On the channel that heroes are reactionary and villains are actionary. Villains are what drive the story and the plot forward. Harry Potter is an incredibly boring person as a character. But because Voldemort, the actionary villain, is forcing Harry to fight and survive, he's pulled from what certainly would have been a rather boring and bland life into the role of a hero.
What's the problem with that, though?
He's using that as an example to back up the fact that villains are reactionary and protagonists are reactionary.
Well, I mean, that's just the nature of villains and heroes, really.
Yeah,
Most
I agree.
Of the time, anyway.
I agree, but I would also say Harry
I
is
would say
not.
It doesn't have to be, though.
I would say okay. Please elaborate on that first before I go on.
That's what I meant. Saying that heroes can be actionary is when I said Batman doesn't wait for the heist to happen.
Yes, you're right. Sorry. But
reactionary heroes are reactionary.
Absolutely. I would say also Harry as a character is not 100% boring.
I never actually read the book, so I don't have any input.
That's fine. So yes, because Voldemort exists, Harry exists. Otherwise Harry would not exist. So I guess
technically, he would have existed. Harry would have existed. Harry Potter, the local legend, wouldn't have, but Harry Potter, the boy, would have.
So I guess everything that Harry is because of Voldemort, sure. But that doesn't mean that he's not interesting in the sense of like he's one, a wizard. Two, he has the ability to speak to snakes. That's quite interesting, right? And again, this is stuff that you don't learn about too like much until it's brought up. But again, it doesn't mean that he's not interesting.
Yeah. Personally, I don't find Harry too interesting.
I think having a character that is hated by his family, or not his immediate family, but his family that takes care of him and is forced to live under a stairway in a small cupboard is rather interesting, right? Because like you get that premise and you go, why?
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't his family hating him, because you can have family that dislikes children that they're forced to take care of, like in real life and whatever.
Sure.
What struck me as the most interesting character was Snape's like hatred for him, like day one.
Well, yeah, that's also
Snape was always to me the most interesting character.
Oh, sure. But again, I would say that there is something there that is compelling. It's not, I mean, it might not be for everyone, of course. But I think that it is a disservice to say that he is all intents and purposes like uninteresting, right? He's got stuff there that somebody can latch onto.
Yeah, no, there's definite appeal, don't get me wrong. There's opportunity for appeal.
Yeah. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't give a shit about Harry Potter. Like I don't care anymore. I used to, sure, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm just saying, for me, Harry doesn't quite hit those notes.
That's totally fair.
Like, ooh.
I agree.
What's going on with this guy over here?
I agree, and I'm just pointing out that there are things that somebody could do that. So I don't see how you can just say he's uninteresting, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The hard truth for most of our favorite heroes is that without criminals and villains, the worlds that they would exist in would resemble the boring monotony akin to Stepford Wives. But
I don't know about that, because, like, what if Indiana Jones didn't, like, have the Nazis and shit, but he just went on those fucking, like, adventures? That'd be cool.
That would be pretty fucking sweet. That'd be basically like if you, like Nathan Drake, but without the enemies.
Yeah, exactly. You're just going and raiding a thing and then trying to deal with, like, the ancient ruins crumbling.
Yeah, pit traps.
Yeah, it's super cool. I don't... Come on.
Like, Nazis make it better, don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
But
somebody will take that. Promise.
That's a quote that you can take from SneakyAdolf.
The Nazis make it better.
Yeah. The Nazis make it better, Adolf 2020.
That's a future us issue.
Yep.
Villains,
fuck you, future me.
Are interesting. Without a villain, you don't have a story. Without villains,
oh god, here we
the story
go.
of Batman would just read: a young billionaire, Bruce Wayne, went to the theater with his parents, and then he grew up to be a businessman. The end. Not.
That's not for you to declare.
So,
what if teenage Bruce Wayne saw like ninjas and he is like, "That's really fucking cool. I want to be a ninja."
Yeah.
I need to look up the definition of villains.
Oh boy, here we go.
No, legitimately, this is.
Oh no, I know.
Okay,
like
so
definitions when we
in a film, novel, or play, a character whose evil actions or motives are important to the plot. Okay, so if we use that definition, right, then I guess potentially that could have been the story of a boy goes to the theater. Nobody holds up his parents, so he just goes home and has a happy childhood, right? Yeah. So if you want to use that for, but usually, as far as I know, villains are defined by being oppositions to something. As far as as is used like in the everyday, I'm not sure.
That's because of the generalization of the hero's journey being used as like the one and only story that's represented, wherein your hero is the protagonist and the villain is the antagonist.
I guess so.
And the protagonist is always a force for good, and the antagonist is always a force for evil.
Fair. Well, I've got more here of a cruelly malicious person who is involved in or devoted to wickedness or crimes, a scoundrel, and then you've got the plot thing again. So, I guess if we go from a purely semantic standpoint, then yes. But like you were saying, I would say perhaps he became like you said, he just went, "Hey, that's a ninja. Neat. I want to be a ninja, Dad." And his dad was like, "I have all this money, sure."
Yeah.
Right? And then later
I can
on,
always make another son.
Yeah. It's a good thing we're gonna live forever, Martha.
Why did you say that name?
I was thinking it too.
I was hoping somebody would take the bait.
And like, don't get me wrong, that version of Batman would absolutely be less compelling and less interesting, but it can absolutely still happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he just goes, "Well, I don't like crime. I'm gonna stop it with my ninja power." Yeah. Right? Like
Superman becoming a hero, like didn't really have to do with villains.
Yeah,
I was raised by loving parents on a farm.
Who taught me right and wrong.
And I had powers.
Yep.
And I decided to start like using these powers for what I consider to be good.
Exactly. So like, hey man.
Exactly the most appealing story. And oftentimes in Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games like Starfinder, we as dungeon masters focus too much on the action of RPCs, what the boring heroes are doing. I mean,
are your PCs boring?
Yeah, because this sounds like a you and your PC's problem.
Yeah. What are your PCs doing, man?
Yeah.
What if your PCs are the villains?
It's definitely not the story.
Yeah,
it sounds
right.
Like It sounds like his PCs are getting a little bit too immersed in the game.
Yeah.
Not enough story, not enough roleplay.
I know, man. Right?
No,
Like,
you mean not enough story, too much roleplay.
yeah, man. Why aren't you just railroading your players? Come on.
Railroad them.
They're
Come
not artistes.
They're not.
Oh god.
But like, legitimately, I don't see like.
Yeah,
if you
like-
focus on, you can have your own players be their own villains. You can have your heroes be their own villains, right?
Yeah.
You have inner conflict. That is a
You
thing.
can run an evil campaign, yeah.
Yes, you can also run an evil campaign completely,
And then
which is
the villains are boring.
yeah, right, exactly. Then your heroes are your villains. So
Yeah.
Ugh.
Kind
Not
of makes
everybody's
sense. Our
boring.
players have these
Yeah.
great characters, and we need to fill a few hours a week of random stuff for them to do with them. So we create haphazard dungeons for them to crawl through and
Not
random
necessarily.
monsters to ambush them out on the
Not
road.
necessarily.
Which, I mean, it's fine. It works, and I'm certainly not here to say that if you enjoy those beer and pretzel types of games that your fun is wrong. But
Okay, wait. So I've heard this. He says this a lot. Beer and pretzel type games. When he refers to you just get together and fuck around, you know? You're just like, whatever, right? But like, even those games, like,
Yeah, like
sure.
so many people have so many problems with the way other people play their game, and they always try to play it off with,
Oh, no.
"Oh, that's fine."
Yeah, exactly. No. You're fine.
Yeah, it's fine if you like that
Lesser.
beer and pretzel kind of game.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Like, just fucking own it. You don't like that kind of game, you think other people are playing it wrong.
That's the problem. He even says that he likes that kind of game every now and again. It's just like,
Yeah, it's almost like variety is the spice of life.
Then why do
exactly.
you even make this fucking video then?
I don't know.
Because he needs money.
Yeah, you're right. So we're here to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, your money is wrong.
Yeah, your money is wrong.
Give it back.
Give me my money. Give me your money. I am your villain now. I will be your villain, I promise.
That'll
Give
be
it to
super
me.
interesting. Don't worry.
Yes, I am an
just
interesting
need,
villain.
I just need weekly payments to be interesting.
Yes, please pay me
Not
to
hard-
be
it's hard
interesting.
work.
But no, like legitimately, you don't need to have a villain there. You can or you don't need any of those scenarios. I literally have had my players running a fucking tavern. That was what they were doing and
I feel
going to
like all these-
school.
I feel like all these people have never had a game where it's like 90% RP.
I don't know. It's
Like-
they claim to, right?
Yeah, but they don't seem to act like they have. You know the Tabaxi campaign?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No combat.
Yes.
One session, and it's like, oh, this is going to be a one-shot. You're all Tabaxis. You're not going to be fighting. You're merchants. You're whatever. And we
Yes.
all fucking
Fuck
loved
you,
it.
no,
And
it's not
even
gonna be a
months
one-shot.
later, we want to come back to it.
I know.
I don't get that impression with any of these people.
I know, right?
if you're struggling with really hooking your players into your stories and your plots, and you find them often drifting left and right to cling to that random throwaway NPC without solid direction, as we all kind of joke about them doing far too often, it's because your villain sucks. And in my experience, even with my own writing and my game prep, when your villains feel flat and generic, it's because you don't actually have good motivations for them. And I mean
That is
more
absolutely
than they
such
want
a
this.
huge false dichotomy.
I
Yeah.
know.
Like, you can absolutely have a whole host of reasons why they latch on to players. Some to certain NPCs.
NPCs, yeah.
Sometimes it's because they like the fucking voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it's because they're like, this character is really funny. He make me go haha.
Yeah, yeah, like legitimately, that's why that's why my guys like my enchanter Rasalth. It's because he fucking always, he doesn't stop laughing. He literally cannot stop laughing during his conversation. He's a fucking weirdo, and he fucking loves experimenting with magic and blowing up sometimes. He loves
It's
it.
literally always the NPCs that are doing weird random like bullshit as their
Yes.
profession and are a little crazed.
Yes. And then everybody's like, dude, what's going on with him? I need his help. Right?
Yeah. It's literally like the old drunk dude Similmir that
Yes.
like blew himself up because he loves working with gunpowder and is getting his crunk on
Yeah,
24/7 for the last 50 years. And
absolutely.
also the one slightly insane hobo that had the same voice as Similmir,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I had no lines prepared for.
yeah. Or like there's also like, and it wasn't even expected that there was just a moment in my game a couple of days ago. It was we were playing, and the drow character, she has been attending the university and being a part of the necromancy college, because, or the necromancy section of the school itself. And she's been working with the head necromancer, who's also an elf, who just likes undead to the point of fascination with any kind of death, like to dissect and research and document. And they hit it off so well because they did the same thing, and they literally kind of like lived in the same room for so long that at some point she just kissed her. And then I was like, oh yeah, I mean, she also would feel the same way, dude. Yeah, okay. And so they got together. Like, that's a whole, like, so many things, man. And it was an unexpected relationship, but it made sense, right?
But here's the point, though.
Yeah.
Your villain sucks.
Oh, right. You're right.
That's the only reason.
I don't even have a villain.
And
So,
also
exactly.
Alejo, don't forget
Yes.
that that's not story.
Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. I've failed. Every time they tell me they really want to play my game and they really enjoy it, I've failed.
Yeah,
Every single time.
Don't get me wrong, Alejo.
Yeah.
Your fun is not wrong.
Oh,
but you
okay.
are.
But I am. You're right. Fuck this.
Magic stone so they can come back to life types of motivations, because that's not a motivation. That's a goal. And there is a huge difference between a character's motivations and their goals.
Okay.
I'm talking about...
Yes, they complement each other, I guess. So.
Yeah.
I typically think as a motivation as something that pushes a character in one direction,
to
and
their
a goal as something that pulls a character towards a direction.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
About truly understanding the one or two things that is driving them forward before we even get to their goals and the things that they'll do to satisfy their actual motivation. So let's look at the two big goals for a typical character: wealth and power. Now, most of your villains will at their...
If you're making an actually sucky, shitty, boring villain, yes. But
Like,
I think most DMs wouldn't just
he said character, not villain.
Yeah, he's talking about in general. Like,
He's
this
talking
is
about your players.
This is, well, in like anything. It doesn't matter, players, NPCs, anything. They either want wealth or they want power. Now,
see, now
I've watched this.
Now I want to make a town in a game where literally every single NPC is trying to steal from one another. Even the guards.
I was saying
funny.
the complete fucking opposite.
Right.
It's a town that is overflowing with wealth for some reason.
And they just give it away.
And people are like, I don't want this. I don't want this. Take
it's
it.
A curse.
Take it from me. And someone's like, hey, how much is an apple? It's like, oh, no, that's fine. No charge for the apple. Oh, no, please. I couldn't do that. Take 50 gold. And the merchant's just like,
No. You don't understand. The apple itself, it comes with 50 gold. Please
yes,
take. Please.
By all means.
Right?
Oh, like... no. My ancestors would roll over in their graves. 51 gold.
Anyway, so we're talking about characters.
But like, legitimately, like, so I've watched the entire video before. That's why I put this here. And like, I think later on he makes the argument of anything is boiled down to wanting one of those two things, right?
Wow.
Which, I don't know, love is a factor,
acceptance.
Bro.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest.
You could say like, oh well, the Lich is researching on death because his sister died in childhood. and he's seeking to like bring her back, and then you
Yeah.
could say like, oh well, he's seeking the power to bring her back.
Yes, but he has the goal in the sense to bring her back. That's not because of that's not him going, I just want the power. That's him going, I want to resurrect my sister. Right?
Yes.
There's a
even
reason
if it
for it.
sacrifices me.
Yeah, the power is the means to the end.
Exactly. Yes.
That's
so,
not the end goal.
That's why these fucking both of these are like, yes, they're means to an end. The real goal is something else.
Yeah.
I don't know why these are the goals that you have put here, that the goalie is like, you put the goals like midfield and the goalie is at the end. I don't know what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Like
core be chasing either wealth or power in some form or another. Maybe they want an ancient artifact to use, that's power. Or maybe they want an ancient artifact.
Why did they want to use the ancient artifact?
Yeah, like
To bring back their dead sister.
Oh, so they had a goal after that. Huh. Weird.
Fact to sell, of course, that's wealth. Maybe they want to raise an army of undead.
Maybe they like the way it looks.
Are they a gang leader who has taken over a small mining town? Maybe that's both wealth and power. Almost any goal a villain can have in your game can usually be broken down into one of these two categories.
That
if not
I find
both of them.
fair.
And this is a great place to actually start as a dungeon master if you are building out a new campaign villain. You may not have a 5-page background on your villain with an intricately detailed history, but you do know that you want your campaign to include a necromancer raising an undead army. I mean, that is totally fine.
That's fine.
Starting with the
Literally,
goal
my
before
villain is
digging
that.
into motivations is much more common than the reverse. But if you stop here, you're going to have a much more difficult time developing this villain in your game and story
Not
for your
necessarily.
players to
I was gonna say, like, if you
Really
stop
not
there,
necessarily.
I don't think anybody goes, my villain is going to raise undead, and then
That's
they
it.
stop.
Yeah,
Right.
no, nobody does that.
No one
No
just
good
fucking
people
does that.
No, people absolutely do that.
Fair, okay, fair enough. There are people who do that, but no one that you're going to, like, say that was a really good villain would go,
Mhm.
that's it, right?
Yeah.
If you can describe your entire villain in like one paragraph or less, maybe consider making more.
Right, exactly. Like, sure, so I guess I agree with you, sir. I guess.
love to hate, and they most likely won't have much attachment to them in your campaign story arc. Let's face it, the necromancer raising an undead army isn't exactly the freshest idea, but that doesn't mean that we can't make him into a memorable campaign villain that your players will talk about for years to come. What we need to do is look at his true motivation. Why is he raising an army?
So then a motive can be a goal. Right? Like, in this sense, if we use motivation of why, it's to raise the undead to bring back his sister. We use this example. That is the goal.
Yeah.
And that is his motivation.
Yes.
It is both.
Yeah.
And it's neither wealth or power.
To achieve your goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a little more complicated than just going, it's wealth or power. Because again, you're stopping a step before and not asking why, so you're not making the goal.
I think at this point I can basically sum up his whole video.
Yeah, do it.
And it's that to our listeners out there, if you as a player are taking time to develop and to make your character interesting, and you come up with like a 4-page backstory about why your character left home or why they can't return home or why they view certain things the way they do, and then if you play a D&D campaign and your primary antagonist and or villain is super underdeveloped, it feels pretty bad.
Yes.
So what I would say as an appeal to our listeners out there who aspire to be or who are DMs, kindly consider crafting a villain with as much love and consideration as or more than your players put into their characters.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And if you make a villain that is just the evil lich who is evil because shut up, and who lives in a tower because shut up, and has a bunch of zombies that are invading the town because shut up, maybe consider putting in more.
Yeah.
Well, it's that popular saying. You're either a hero or you live long enough to become a villain.
Yeah.
Right? So make your villains, like, build them from the ground up as a hero, and then figure out how they became a villain.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's incredible. Like, if you can go, this guy was once, like, this is a whole different archetype, of course, but this guy was once a noble hero, and slowly over time he became corrupted due to whatever reason. Say his sister died, and his young sister died who was born years after him, and he wants to get her back. Or I don't know, you can go
he
with
made a promise to a fiend that now
That's-
compulses him towards certain trends.
exactly, that's what I was. Yeah, he made a pact, and so he has to fulfill his pact, and even though he doesn't enjoy it, perhaps he's a conflicted villain, right, where he has to do this stuff but he doesn't want to, right?
Or perhaps it's like, say, a caravan of orcs traveling through that have disrupted the local ecosystem, making the hunting village have issues. It's not that the orcs themselves are antagonistic toward the village. It's just that sometimes ways of life do not overlap well.
Yeah, and that becomes a more of a gray area. Like, they aren't really the villain; they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is infinitely
trying
interesting.
to just do their own thing, and it's
Absolutely.
how do then I, as a player, resolve this?
Exactly. You could either kill them all, you could talk to them, you could figure out a different way to, like, move them somehow. Like, you could use outside forces to scare them away or kill them. I don't know, like, anything, right? You could do whatever. So, like,
you can kill the village that's complaining.
You could kill the village, yes, and tell them all that they're being assholes, right? Yeah.
Say, you know what? There's 30 people in this village, but there's 45 orcs.
They win.
The less people is to kill the village.
Exactly. So, like, again, you can go about it any way as long as you give yourself the opportunity. If you write it in such a way that you have more dimensions than 2 or 1. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And now he's going to tell us more things. Wow. Great.
And the best part, too, is when you have villains that you think are actually the villains, but they're not necessarily villains, but have actually just been contracted out by the true villain.
Oh, sure,
that is the actual conflict, and you're like, I have to stop this person because he kidnapped someone. And then you find out that they only actually kidnapped that person because
money.
They kidnapped the person to sell to a group of cannibals who were holding a ritualistic feast at this one day of the year.
Yeah, but they didn't know that.
Yeah, and you find out this, or even if they did know that, the slaver is not your real issue. Your real issue is the cult of cannibals that are going to raise this monster at this day.
Absolutely, yeah. They're, again, multiple levels. You have your true antagonist, right?
Onion.
It's like an ogre. It has swamps. So you have your true antagonist, then you can have henchmen, then you can have people hired by those henchmen, right?
Yeah.
You can have a ladder of it, right? And then you can add even more depth, because then you go, well, my antagonist is actually like a planner, or he did this off the cuff or something, right? You then figure out the motivation behind him having henchmen somehow, right? Either he's powerful enough like a lord, and then he's like, all of my subjects, you will do as I say, and they're like, yes, my lord, and then they do what he says, right? Or
even people who are contrary to your beliefs of what is right. So, like my players who are currently doing work for the Thieves Guild, to recover someone who was someone who stole essentially a barrel of skooma.
Jesus.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Holy shit!
What the fuck, man?
one of my players, the druid, was like, I want to get a lot of money because I always seem to lose mine. And then instead of, earning money and holding on to it, he decided that he's going to steal a barrel of skooma from the Thieves Guild and sell it out of his apartment. So what I used as a hook for the next plot line was the Thieves Guild contacted them because they owe the Thieves Guild a favor.
Mhm.
And they're like, we need you to find and kidnap this person because he was an idiot and decided to try to steal a barrel of skooma from us.
Mm.
And we are already in the process of rounding up members of his family,
Yeah.
and we can't seem to find him.
Oh.
Come to find out, he's been kidnapped by a slaver and is currently being sold to some rich nobles
Yeah.
as part of a cannibalistic feast.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's where you got the cannibal idea.
Yeah.
Rub yourself.
I figured.
That's literally actually the arc that they're currently playing through, but I haven't told my players where to find this podcast, and I won't until we finish this arc, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because I really want to move on to the next one.
I hear you.
And that's one of the things where the players as a whole should also be concerned about the fact that the Thieves Guild is also literally selling drugs to people in the slums as a way of taking what money they do have.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to like the people, and you could, in fact, consider the Thieves Guild in the city to be villains.
Oh, totally.
But there are sometimes strange scenarios at play where sometimes you have to work with someone who you would typically consider a villain.
Absolutely.
What is that saying? It's something make strange bedfellows.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck.
Strange circumstances make strange bedfellows. Is that it?
Something like that. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking like keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Politics makes strange bedfellows.
Ah.
Okay.
Yep. Makes
or adversity makes strange bedfellows.
Something like that.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's continue to have this man tell me why things suck.
Yeah.
In order to do that, we need to go back one step to look at his or her main villainous flaw. While this isn't the only method to break down flaws, I actually find it easier to think of them by using the 7 deadly sins, or in our case, the 6 deadly sins. But before I talk about that, it is...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he has a sponsor.
Yep.
That's like a lot of the... Let's skip forward, because it's...
And our sponsor... No, just joking.
No, jeez, no.
Yeah, I won't do it this time.
I know.
What's it supposed to be? We changed it from Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh, fuck.
Arc
He said it.
Arc Knights.
Yeah, that's the one I keep seeing lately.
I don't know. I don't know what the popular sponsor is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Arc Knights.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool for them. Have fun.
Actually, those dice there are really fucking cool.
Yeah. All the dice and stuff are cool. It's Q Workshop, I think, or something.
Yeah, Q Workshop. Well, the thing is, Q Workshop, a lot of Q Workshop dice that I've gotten in the past, I don't know if they're better now, they were unbalanced.
Ooh.
So I don't really go with Q Workshop anymore.
You just killed our sponsorship deal.
I was gonna say, and now to our sponsor, Q Workshop makes some fine dice.
All right.
But
amazing dice sets for yourself down in the description box below. So thank you, Q Workshop, for being a part of the Taking 20.
Okay, hang on. I gotta do this. There was one point. You remember how we were talking about how to be a great GM and how you guys don't like him?
Yes.
There was one thing in his dice video that totally makes sense, though.
Okay.
He's talking about glow-in-the-dark dice.
Yes.
If you're playing D&D in a dark room where the only thing you can see is your dice, you can't see your sheet, you can't see your books. So anyway,
that's very strange. You're right.
Yeah, that's just that one little point that I thought was actually fairly smart.
I think he's trying to appeal to the millennial crowd who use all of their D&D Beyond and all that on their iPod and their phone.
I mean, I've got like 2 sets of glow-in-the-dark dice.
I don't have any.
But I literally just have them just because novelty.
Fair enough, yeah.
That's fine.
Appreciate it. So after scratching Sloth from that list, as
why
that may not be terribly great for our Dungeons and Dragons villains, we're left
Apparently, sloth is not a good sin to use.
What are you talking about?
As a villain. It's because villains are motivated.
Yes, but you could also have
They're
it
Virgil.
be... You could also...
You could have your villain be an agent of galactic entropy.
Oh, sure.
Boom. Done.
Sure.
Or have them amass so much wealth. Motivation is wealth. Where they literally never have to work again and as such crash the local economy.
Yeah. Or, I mean, sloth itself, I think, is more, not willing to do anything at all?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
You can also totally have minor villains that are like local scumlords who own actually half of the buildings in town and who are shaking people down for money. And when you go to confront them, they're literally just like fat and like,
I was gonna say
from like where they're moving.
What's going to him?
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Jabba the Hutt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any kind of stereotypical fat like lord of whatever, right? Whether it be Jabba, whether it be like your apartment fucking manager who doesn't actually let you, get anything updated in the apartment and it's the same as it was in the 1950s or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you could have that be the thing.
You can take a page out of Full Metal Alchemist's book.
Yeah.
And they have sloth as like one of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
And he's utilized as essentially like a blunt instrument because he's like, I don't care, whatever it takes for me to get to my goal the quickest so I can like power down and go back to doing nothing.
Exactly.
Is the best.
Yeah, that's actually the best example right there is like using the sin itself to be the motivation, right?
Yeah.
To go, I don't want to do anything anymore, so I'm going to take the easiest route. Absolutely.
It is both his motivation and his flaw.
Exactly. Oh man, it's almost like they're fucking like many fucking onions to this fucking onion cake.
There's a lot of onions to this layer.
Yeah, there's a lot of onions to this swamp.
I'm totally going to make a dungeon that has like in the beginning of it's just gotten like a shipment of food or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be like 10 bags of onions, and all of my players are gonna be like, oh, there's sacks full of what appears to be stuff, and they're gonna look through it. They're gonna be like, what the fuck? It's just a shit ton of onions, and I'm just gonna say there's many onions to this layer.
Oh God.
With avarice, greed, lust, gluttony, pride, and wrath. Just like our goals of power and wealth, almost all of our villains should be able to break down into one of these villainous flaws, if not several of them. Does our extravagant thief lust after a beautiful noble that is above their station?
Sure.
So they wish to build their wealth and power in secret with devious means to impress her and her father. Does our bugbear gang leader have a simple gluttony for violence and torture as he looks to raid merchant caravans traveling out on the road, naturally building his wealth and influence in his
Sloth and gluttony lend themselves toward each other very well.
Sloth and what? Sorry?
Sloth and gluttony.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely they would.
Mm-hmm. Also, gluttony and avarice.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, combinations of the two are absolutely, and he said several. So like again, like this part.
I still find it an absolute shame that he's like, oh, there's only 6 that you can use.
I know.
There's absolutely 7.
It's like again, this part. I'm like, yes, you can use these. So I have nothing against this part. This part is fine.
Oh yeah, no. This
goes on for a while.
He's mentioning, these are fine.
Yes, they're fine.
The wrath of our necromancer seeking revenge, or in his eyes, justice, pull him forward with his dark plans, or is it perhaps his envy of the people's lives who have never known suffering like his that he wishes to correct? Maybe it's all of these things and more, with multiple deadly sins layering on top of each other for each of our villains. But by looking beyond just our villain's goals of gaining powers by his means to achieve that goal of raising an undead army, we are now starting to create a more interesting villain than simply another generic necromancer, blah blah blah, for our players to go out and stab to death until he is no longer a threat.
Which we have already gone over. If you're doing that, you should really rethink doing that and just like flesh it out. It's very simple.
Still agreeing with him.
Still agreeing. Yes.
Yeah.
We know more about our villain and how they'll react to their first loss at the PC's hands. We can understand how they'll adapt their plans to the growing threat from the players, and we can create a more complex story around them instead of just thinking about how we are going to railroad our players with static villain goals, which is terrible. This is an issue that newer Dungeon Masters kind of sort of run into a little bit more by thinking that the players will encounter our villain here and defeat his minions, then they'll talk to this NPC to find out about this, then we'll have the players fight the Necromancer here again, and finally we'll have a big showdown here to end the campaign.
Hey, that sounds like what the other guy was trying to advocate for being one of the ways to tell a story.
Yeah.
Which I am glad that he also that Taking 20, I don't even know his real name, I don't care. Taking 20 also agrees.
Cody, I believe.
Okay, Cody. Thank you, Cody. I'm glad that Cody also agrees that that is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Good job, Cody.
Truly understand your villain, you'll instead be able to look at how they'll adapt and change their course of action after encountering the PCs for the first time. But we need to go one more layer back to truly create a complex villain that won't feel static and predictable to our players. We need to look at one
it's getting too big.
most powerful motivator for man: fear. Fear is the most powerful motivator known to man.
No, it's not, but okay.
I doubt.
I would agree that it's fairly strong.
I was gonna say it's fairly potent. Yes, I guess.
Yes, it is. I don't know if it's the strongest.
His examples that he gives, I also kind of agree with. But I also think that he puts too much, like, because fear, yes, is a thing, but also like the examples that he's going to give, some of them I'm like, well, it could just be something else, not fear.
Yeah.
So yes and no.
I will say overall, I do find myself tending to agree with him more than I do disagree.
Yes.
However, I do find it an unfortunate habit of his that he pigeonholes in on, like, there's a scenario which can have like 4 possible causes or resolutions.
Yes.
And he picks one.
Yes.
And then he says, this is the scenario or resolution. And then he says, why is this the scenario or resolution?
I hate it so much.
And because he's tunneling down this one path with complete abandon, you're missing the overall depth of what you could have.
I feel like people
missing
are
the tree for the branch.
Yes, you're missing the swamp for its layers. But I don't know. But I feel like people are. I understand the algorithm for YouTube is fucking annoying, right? Yeah. And people need to make the algorithm happy so that they can be successful if they're actually living off the income. But I feel like people are too afraid to make longer videos so that they can explain these points out more. I feel like it's a detriment to making these videos where you make ones that are 10 to 15 minutes to 16 minutes and 3 seconds long and not actually put out all the scenarios and all of the stuff that could be happening, right? You don't actually provide all of it. Because then you have people like us who are assholes who come in and are like, hey, you fucking idiot. No. Right? Like, you're literally...
how many, let me take a quick look.
Huh?
You person with 191,000 subscribers as of the time of this video, you are in fact wrong. And
Yeah.
us with our 0, we are
We have
right.
2.
We do?
Yeah. One of them's me.
Hey.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
I don't subscribe to
Unsubscribe.
the podcast.
You don't subscribe to the podcast?
No.
Oh.
I was there for it.
That's fair. That's fair. I just did it in order to have the link available easily, so fine. I'll unsubscribe from the podcast. Fine. I'll do it.
Damn right.
Yeah, that's right.
Podcast 3, we lose 50% of our viewer count.
That's right. Get fucked. Let me go. Where's my fucking subscriptions? Oh, there they are. Oh. It takes a second.
Shit.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I hate this channel. Man, oh man. Table Talk.
Leave a scathing review.
Oh fuck! I found something else that says Table Talk. Oh no. Oh no. But it's got a hashtag. Oh no.
Oh shit.
Maybe people are talking about us.
Nope. It's a whole thing from 6 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I think we're good.
I think we can co-opt that. I think that's old enough. That's
Yeah,
over the
I think
statute of
that's fine.
limitations.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I didn't know about this, but get fucked, I guess. Me.
What?
Well, we have. Sorry, we have the additional discussion and discourse as our subtitle, so we're fine.
This is true.
All right. Well, fuck it. These guys suck. I'm unsubscribing. Anyway,
you know
cool.
Why? You know why you don't have 190k subscribers, Alejo?
Why?
Because you don't make titles that are 10 words or less in bold yellow font with a big
I know.
old D&D.
I really
and
should.
Sell viewers the idea that they're having fun wrong.
I know.
And in your title, and then teach them how to fix it, while all the while saying, but if that's how you enjoy it, then your fun is not wrong.
I fucking hate it so much. I fucking hate these fucking videos so much, and that's why I want to talk about them all the fucking time.
A video title should not be longer than 6 words.
All right. Well, unfortunately, Table Talk, Discussion, and Discourse is 5, so...
Well, here's the thing. That's a series title, and then the actual episode title.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fair enough. All right, let me.
So like Table Talk, Discussion, and Discourse, and then the first episode would have been The Mercer Effect.
That's true. That was 3.
Yeah,
that was 3.
Title.
Anyway,
episode 2, D&D in popular media.
No, it was more than that. I put more than that.
Oh shit! Well,
it was Fate of Cthulhu and D&D in media. I think it was.
But here's the thing. That's a very
7.
to the point.
I think so too.
Concise title.
It's a statement of content. Not
I think so too. I think it's great. I think it's great.
Anyway, maybe we should get back to what the fuck we're supposed to be talking about.
What do you mean? No, we're talking about the fucking channel of podcast. Don't worry about it. That's what people came here for, obviously.
Yeah.
Episode 4 or 3, whatever episode this is. Storytelling.
I don't subscribe.
Yeah, you fuck. I don't support my own project. Whatever.
You know what we should talk about?
Hey, this is your project.
Hey, man, you're a part of it. Get fucked.
I think the next thing we should talk about, now that you're talking about, I hate these videos so much, we ought to talk about those how to play blank in D&D.
Yes,
those
I think so. I think that's a good next one, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yes, okay. So
we might be able to squeeze one of those in.
If this video keeps going not tonight.
Yeah,
because I gotta wake up early tomorrow.
Boo's gotta wake up early, so after this is done, we're gonna be done, unfortunately. But yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's cool, dude. No worries. Yeah. So let's keep going.
Yeah.
It tells me how things suck.
Isn't even close. Everything you do is motivated by fear. Everything.
No.
Let me give you an example.
No.
To show you how powerful fear is. And this example, by the way, is incredibly fitting as we're just a few weeks away from Black Friday shopping right here in the US. In 2014, for the entire month of November, the Microsoft Xbox One was available from Amazon, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, and Newegg for $349.99. The entire month. Anyone looking to grab a new Xbox for Christmas could have easily gotten their hands on one for that price for almost a full month. What time do you think that all those stores opened up for Black Friday that year? That's right, 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving
You didn't give me time to say anything.
One of the biggest holidays of the year, and instead of spending time with their family, thousands of people sat in lines across the country, camped out for 12 hours to be one of the first in line to get their hands on a still relatively new Xbox One for the reduced Black Friday special. Do you know how much the Xbox One was on sale for that year? $329.99. That's right. People gave up their entire holiday with their family to stand in line for 12 hours to save $20. Ironically, if those same people had simply worked 12 hours at the minimum wage at that time of $7.25, they would have earned $87, not counting holiday pay or if they made anything more than the absolute minimum wage. Why? Why would they act in such a ridiculous way to save $20?
Because they're scared. Frugality?
That's not a thing, I guess.
Quite literally needing to save as much as possible so you can live?
If you want to use food as an example on Thanksgiving, why not simply say that, you only eat because you're afraid of starving to death.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, it's not because you're hungry. It's not because you love the way this fucking
It's not because it's
tastes.
biological or anything.
Yeah.
No, that's because your body is scared of starving to death.
Yes, I'm sure my body thinks. My brain, I know that does. Yeah.
Well,
but
it's your brain telling you to be scared of starving to
that's
death.
true.
So it motivates you.
Oh, it does.
That's your motivation, and your goal is food.
Oh my god! Oh, my motivation is greed.
Yeah. Your
no,
villain
wait.
sucks.
Oh. And your villain sucks. Cool.
Oh my god.
Again, like, sure, this is an example, but still, you're wrong.
Like, it's a really bad example.
No,
Fear. They were so overcome with fear that they might miss out on the sale that they gave up their entire holiday with their family. It was that.
No, they didn't.
So
No,
I would.
You can have Thanksgiving multiple times.
He says this so fucking matter-of-factly. I can tell you for a fact personally that I can say, if you go up to one of those people who was there and you went, why did you stand in line to get the Xbox? They'd go, it was cheaper.
Yeah.
They wouldn't go, I was deathly afraid that I would miss out on this sale of a piece of plastic that has computer parts inside. Right? That's ridiculous. That's absolutely... It's like saying, oh man, if I don't get this, I'm not gonna live. Which is fucking ridiculous.
And also, he literally mentions earlier in the video of possible motivations for a villain for, like, avarice.
Yeah.
Lust. You're not afraid that you can sometimes in some certain situations.
It can
like,
be applied.
oh my god, I may not sleep with this chick. Oh no, and get a little flustered up. But like, generally, that's a pretty niche situation.
Yeah,
it's just
I don't think I'm ever probably going to ever implement a character that is afraid of not draining his balls in some chick.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I don't see why fear would be the factor of lust.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Greed,
The only way I could ever see that happening and like actually making sense is your character's afraid of dying alone.
Sure. Or
that's
like
it.
or like last of your
But that's not lust.
No, that's survival.
That's love sickness.
Yeah, sure. But like
that's loneliness.
Right. Like there's also like if they were the last one on Earth.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You two are the last ones. That is quite literally survival, excuse me. That's what I meant.
Or he's saying like, oh, there's the wrathful necromancer that carries out wrath that he thinks is justice. Where's the fear in that?
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't hear
there's no fear there.
Yeah.
That's drive.
Yeah.
Fear that drove their action, because fear is man's greatest single motivator. Why did Bilbo Baggins leave the
But not
Shire
only, but not its only motivator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's
like
once again, Cody has 5 options available, picks one and says this is the only one.
I know. Yeah. Cody, my dude.
You were doing so well.
You're probably a nice guy.
One.
You're probably a nice guy in real life.
I'd play a D&D game with Cody.
I'd probably play a D&D game with you. Yeah, it'd be fun, probably. But like, dude,
it'd be fun to hang out with.
Please make better videos. My God, I can't. Like, I watch them because I need to now. I don't know why.
It's a hate click.
It's just like, what did you say today that will make me angry?
It's like it's people who watch the news just saying, "Okay, what the fuck happened today?"
Exactly.
What the fuck went wrong?
You're my fucking CNN, Cody.
Oh jeez.
You're my news. All right, I gotta go back because he makes a fucking point here that I can't stand.
Sale that they gave up their entire holiday with their family. It was that fear, because fear is man's greatest single motivator. Why did Bilbo Baggins leave the Shire to go chasing after the dwarves with his signed contract? Because he feared missing out on the experience.
Did he? I don't think he was afraid of it.
Yeah.
In fact, it was the fear that nearly kept him from going.
Exactly. Like he was like,
Also,
no.
Also, the fact that he's like, oh, these people gave up their entire holiday. And he's like, 2 minutes earlier, people lined up at 6 p.m. And it's like, you do realize you can have Thanksgiving at lunch, right? In fact, like,
it's a whole day.
I don't know about other people, but my family's typically done Thanksgiving for lunch.
Yeah, I've done it for the whole day of like it was lunch and it was dinner.
Yeah,
like we used whatever was at lunch and whatever leftovers there were was dinner.
Yeah. And then I literally know families who have Thanksgiving at lunch, and then they all group in the car and they take votes on where they want to camp up.
Oh, sure.
And part of what they do for Thanksgiving is they spend time with their family in line.
And here's the last one that's even crazier than both of those combined.
Okay.
Some people don't even celebrate Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving.
That's true. That is totally fair.
Sometimes people just can't get together on that day, and they have to do it a different day.
Yeah, we usually do ours on like Saturday.
This year, my family celebrated Thanksgiving on Black Friday.
Yeah. There you go. Makes sense.
Also, I have a feeling that he's also ignoring the fact that the average consumer populace is like woefully underinformed in terms of the products that they actually want.
All right, like
in fact, it's actually the way that a lot of products are marketed is in order to take advantage of this.
Yes.
And personally, when I wanted a Nintendo Switch this fall, I was checking price listings almost every day during the month, as well as reading various forums on like predictions on what it was like. And I found out that waiting till Black Friday would only save me, it was like $28. And I was like, cool, I will buy the Switch now. And I bought it like in the early portion of the month and then waited to get some releases for games during Black Friday online.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, my experience... Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, if you're informed, you typically don't make those decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can tell you, if I were to go back, every time I forgot that the Steam sale was going to come, and literally the very next day, it's a thing, and I bought something right before that, I would fucking not, right?
Yeah.
It's just
or like when you check the Steam sale and you find out that you actually missed out on a game, you don't spiral into a panic attack because, oh my god, I missed out on my game.
Exactly.
You just gotta sit there and then you smirk a little and you're like, well, fuck, and then you continue with your day.
Yeah,
it's very simple. We don't get fucked over by it, you fucking idiot. Sorry, Cody. You're probably nice.
It's the same reason that Kickstarters, guys,
he has
do
beautiful
so
hair.
well, because people fear that they are going to miss out. You go to work because you fear being homeless. You comb your hair because you fear what other people might say or think about you.
I don't comb my hair, Cody. What about that?
It looks like you don't comb your hair either, Cody. Come on. Jesus Christ, man.
But like, yeah, man, I go to work because I fear being in poverty. That's what I do. No.
I go to work because
to an extent,
I go to work because I want to fucking buy video games and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, to an extent, I suppose, yes, but at the same time, that's not my driving factor.
Yeah.
Right.
If I only went to work in order to avoid poverty, I would go to work a whole lot less than I do now.
Yeah. And let's be honest, let's even extrapolate this a little bit further.
Sure.
If every single person in the world is motivated by fear to perform every action, the world would be filled with psychotic fucking madmen.
Oh, absolutely. It would be fucking
would
bad.
progress a lot slower than it does.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would
Everyone
be
would paralyzed of
fucking
making a
bad.
or a choice.
Yeah, the world would be
Yeah.
a fucking shithole more than it already is.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anyway.
Very good disclaimer at the end because I was nearly about to rip into you on that one.
Wait, which?
You're like the world. I thought you were just gonna say the world would be a fucking shithole, and I was gonna be like, but it is.
Oh yeah, no, more than all. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Anyway.
Cody. Thanks for reminding me how the world is shitty. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for informing me how I work.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Go to
Jesus.
college because you fear trying to find a good job without a degree.
Yeah, man,
No.
that's why I go to college. No, I go to college because I went to college before and my loans are fucking substantial. So I went to college again so I could get a break from having to pay them for a while and also learn a trade. Wow.
That sounds like fear to me.
Right? Yeah, no, it's fucking fear, dude. It's not practicality.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You brush your teeth because you fear losing them, and on and on.
Is
So
that
now,
why
with
you
this
brush your
knowledge,
teeth,
you can
Cody?
start-
I was gonna say, I think we're getting more of an insight into him.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Cody, are your teeth okay?
Are you scared? Are you afraid of everything? Scared.
Are you scared?
Cody, you want to talk to me about,
My teeth.
Cody, like, how'd breakfast go for you this morning? I was so afraid I was gonna die.
He's that fucking aunt from A Series of Unfortunate Events. Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like legitimately, don't touch the fridge, it could fall and kill you. Don't touch the doorknob, it could shatter and a million pieces
have a
get into your
piece in your
eye.
eye.
Yeah. Like
God, that's
legitimately,
amazing.
Cody, that's not how people are. Did you watch or read that once and go, "This is life"?
This
wow.
is people.
Cody related to her.
this person.
Finally,
This
the
person.
one sane person.
to
Oh
go
my God.
back and apply this thinking to our villains.
With this
NPCs,
knowledge, we
and
get. Oh my
even
god.
PCs.
Right.
Instead of thinking about what a villain might do, the actions they might take that qualifies them as a villain, now we can look and say,
I make
what
clickbait
fears-
videos because I fear people not watching them.
It's so mean, but it's so true. It's so easy. Just paint a fucking target on your head, man.
Right.
I'm sorry, Cody. You do make some pretty decent content.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
It's like this is just so easy, though.
It's true. Also, like, it's
You're
like
making a meme of yourself.
Exactly. Like if somebody gets all upset about this, about us, if they ever watch this, right, and get upset about us fucking ribbing into Cody a little bit, we're fucking joking. Get over it.
Yeah.
I have honestly nothing against Cody. Unlike what was the last person that we watched?
Oh,
Whatever his-
I don't fucking
yeah.
care. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking dumbass.
Oh,
Cody,
yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah, Cody is like, I just don't like your content. I'll be honest. That's really it for me, and that's fine.
yeah.
You know, it's nothing against you as a person. You're probably cool. I've said this. I'd probably play a game with you. It's neat.
Yeah.
But yeah.
does this character have that might drive them to goals and means of achieving those goals that qualifies them as a villain? Our villainous thief lusts after the noble woman because he fears a life where she weds another man and his life without her. His goals of gaining
What?
wealth and influence.
He's a little bitch then. He can't fucking
beta cut.
He can't fucking get over it. Right? He's just like, hey, so can I come and watch, please? Because otherwise, like, I can't live. Like,
It's like that copy pasta from 4chan.
I know, yeah.
Like, oh, I come home, Chad's fucking my wife.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't, like, if he's really truly afraid of that, then he really needs to get a fucking chick. Like, I don't.
The lich in his tower is actually an incel.
Yeah. So afraid. Oh, women don't like me.
I'm a nice guy.
I don't know why they don't like. It's like, again, if you're writing characters like that, what the fuck, man?
You're shitty at writing characters,
right? like not to tell you that you're doing it wrong, but you're doing it wrong, right?
Did you write some of these characters, Cody?
Yeah. It's all I can assume is that you've done this before.
They sound like they're afraid of things.
This fucking screen, by the way, in response to that. Oh no, I did write them.
What are you afraid of, Cody? I see that like mild tinge of panic in your eyes. What's going on up there, boy?
What's going on behind those eyes?
Yeah, really. I know they're a window to the soul, but when he looks in, he sees a mirror.
And he is terrified by what he sees and everything else.
I'm gonna start calling him Courage.
Oh my god, it hurts a little bit.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, Muriel!
I can see it. That's the worst part. I can fucking see it.
It's a shame too, because Courage has like the worst dental hygiene of like any cartoon character I know. You'd think he'd be afraid of losing his teeth.
Yeah, really.
Like the fucking hole drilled in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Okay. All right, we're almost there, boys. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Let's bring it home.
Yep.
Are accompanied with means to achieve those goals, they would obviously make him a villain. Our Drow priestess's wrath caused by her fears of failing Lolth and what that means for her house. Understanding this will tell us as dungeon masters much more
That one's
about
kind
her,
of valid.
when and if she'll
Yeah, that
lead a
one
fight for
actually
you.
that's fairly valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't think that fear of failing Lolth translates necessarily to wrath.
no,
Yeah,
I
But
would
it
say
I
so.
do think fear
it
of failing
translates to
Lolth
doing
does motivate
something.
to action.
Yes, exactly. I think
Yeah.
fear is a thing that motivates, like, absolutely as you put. Fear motivates to action, not fear motivates to sin.
Yes.
Well,
The
unless that
action-
action.
The
But-
action can be sinful, sure, but
Yes.
it not necessarily.
Yeah, like
But in the same
if-
sense, fear can also paralyze.
Yes,
yeah.
can.
So
Well, like I don't understand though, and maybe this is me just like the point like whooshing over my forehead, but
Sure.
if you're wrathful,
Mhm.
you should be in general. Hold on, let me look up the definition this time. Full of or characterized by intense anger.
Sure.
If the Drow priestess is afraid of failing Lolth, that doesn't translate to her being pissed off at the adventurers in the Underdark.
Well, actually, I would say it could, in the sense of the adventurers are the things that Lolth has said you cannot let escape, right?
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
they do so,
Oh, and then if
she
they
gets
keep escaping, then she gets vexed by it. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, there are
Okay,
absolutely
okay.
places where it can apply, I would say.
Alright.
But yeah.
How she'll react to allowing the PCs to escape after her initial encounter with them. Her pride might dictate the means of her planned second encounter, and so on. Our
There you
band
go.
of gnolls fear their eternal hunger
Absolutely fair.
and what would happen if it goes unsated. Or maybe the leader's pride gives him fear of being just another servant in Yanagu's eyes. Knowing the difference will tell us what types of goals our gnoll leader might have. Do his minions fear death at the hands of the PCs more, or do they fear facing their leader having failed him more?
That's fair enough.
That kind of thought process will tell us when and how fast they might concede a losing fight and flee.
And actually,
good.
I agree with these points. These are fine. But I would say, in reference to, we've said now a couple of times where it's like, yes, this is fine. You know, this fear makes sense here. And, like, I'm sure to an extent you could make it so that the fear does also work for previous examples that we fucking laughed at, right? Sure. I'm sure you could make it work. It's just the way that he presented it, it's like a direct correlation. It was just funny, and it also just doesn't seem logical in that sense. But also, like, I had to explain exactly how the fear worked to Aiden, right? With Lolth and the Drow. So you have to have context.
Yeah.
Just for me, the thing that I agree overall with the premise of the video.
Sure.
That a villain that has no motivation sucks.
Yes.
Absolutely true. I don't think anyone's gonna fight you on that, my guy.
Yeah,
no, I don't think you. There's no man over there going, I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, you know, there is that one dude who's like, it works for the story that they're evil.
Again, I think that man is literally made of straw, though. I don't understand how he exists.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to punch him all the time, and yet he keeps getting up. It's very strange.
He's a hero, man.
Oh,
He's
yes, you're right.
Death. That's why he doesn't die.
Ah, yes.
But yeah, no one's gonna disagree that bad or non-existent villain motivation is something to be avoided.
Yeah.
However, what the point should then transition to is here are some tools and tips on how to apply that, which
yes,
started to kind of go to, but then like pigeonholing in on, but this is actually the one true reason why every villain operates on.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of back to square one of your villains suck because they're all afraid.
Exactly.
So when you boil it down, they're always the same, which is the same problem with having an underdeveloped character as your villain every single time.
Yeah.
You should have a bounteous variety of reasons why a villain does what they do, or even if they're not necessarily a villain, but just a source of conflict.
Totally agreed. Absolutely.
And then if you, even in the case where you can't have even if you have a case where the villain doesn't have a ton of different motivations, if they have one incredibly strong motivation that they believe with all, they have so much conviction.
Yes.
That's important as well.
Conviction.
So even if you can't have a villain, it's like, oh, I want to do this because this and this and this and this and that and those and these and they. It doesn't have to be that. It can just be one very, very powerful motivation or
absolutely
goal or whatever.
Absolutely.
And fear can absolutely be valid. For instance, Virgil from Devil May Cry, his whole thing is like, I need more power, but the reason why he seeks that power is because he was traumatized as a kid of demons attacking and killing his mother and presumably also his brother. And it was that fear of not being able to protect the ones he loved that ironically caused him to shove everyone else away and seek power above all else and commit horrible villainous acts. And it's like, fear can absolutely be a fantastic motivator, but don't act like it's the only one.
Exactly. It's so much more. You need to make a video. Cody, let me level with you really quick. Okay? Cody, if you ever watch this, please remake your video. Please. Just stop. You can't just go one thing is the answer. It's not ever always the case, you know? Sure, there could be some cases, right?
Yeah.
Where one specific thing is the answer. Not this one.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Welcome to my TED Talk. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Skywalker feared for Padme, and it was his fear that caused him to become Darth Vader. Lord Voldemort's pride caused him to fear a world where he wasn't recognized as the greatest wizard of all time. So he saw a goal of power through villainous means. And the Joker, he fears a boring and
Fair
monotonous
enough.
life, clocking in to a Monday
So-
through Friday 8 to 5er.
Yeah.
So his gluttony
Oh.
for causing pain and suffering to simply entertain
Oh,
himself
Right?
leads him to the life of a villain.
No.
So what
No,
Like that whole
no,
thing,
no,
that one,
you're
I'm
not
like,
using
Joker,
you're not using that word like
No.
I think you think it means.
right?
Yeah.
His gluttony for chaos.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's not.
Can we just move on from
You're
that?
trying. Yeah, he's trying really hard.
Yeah, I can tell.
He's going, hey, remember pop culture reference? Here's pop culture reference. Let's apply fear and gluttony. Right?
God.
Just come on, Cody.
Yeah.
does this mean for your actual game prep? Do you need to stop and think about every villain motivation for every encounter? No, that's not something at all that I would recommend. It's not going to improve your game prep. It's going
It will slightly.
It could. You can't just say it won't, Cody. Cody.
Unnamed truth. All right. Unnamed bandits on the road do not need to be three-dimensional characters.
No.
Yeah.
However, having them be just unnamed bandits that you kill as essentially a numbers game
Mhm.
and a resource drain
Mhm.
isn't great. Maybe consider having them be able to be influenced some way or another
Quite
based
literally.
on their wants and desires.
I actually have an example here for bandits.
Is it the Tabaxi campaign?
No, it's not the Tabaxi campaign. Actually, it's my thing.
Oh.
I put in bandits who were controlled by cranium rats, actually.
Ooh.
Because I wanted to introduce the aspect that an illithid had come to the surface. And so my drow character noticed these rats and was like, "Oh fuck," and immediately fled because of fear. But like legitimately after fighting the thing, they found these things and were like, "Oh fuck, I know what this is. Oh, we got to tell the archmage." Right? And then it started this whole cycle of her trying to figure out how to ready the town in order to combat an illithid threat if that were to come, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can have your bandits, and they were fucking nameless bandits, but I added a specific element to make it so that it drove the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it seems easy
Yeah,
enough.
but they're probably pretty afraid being controlled by those cranium rats.
Oh yeah, those
Yeah.
bandits, they were super afraid because their brains were totally there.
And then the cranium rats were afraid because if they didn't brainwash the bandits, the illithid would have gotten mad.
Yeah, you're right. The illithid.
And then the illithid was afraid
came
because
to
if
the
the cranium rats didn't do that thing, then it would have to go back to the elder brain. The elder brain would have been afraid because
yeah, and the illithid came to the surface because he was afraid of not being able to satisfy his gluttony.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, his gluttony.
For brains.
Exactly.
Yes.
For brains. Come on, Cody. You see what you've done to me?
Yes.
You see what you're doing to us? Come on.
You've revealed Alejo for the hack he is.
Yes.
How dare you?
How dare you?
going to slow it way, way down. However, I would absolutely recommend doing this for any significant villain in your game. Anytime you have a villain who you are planning world-changing actions for outside of what the characters see, or if you have maybe a reoccurring villain, those are usually good times to stop and take a look at their fears, flaws, goals.
Usually good times.
As
Not
an added
always.
guide, it's perfectly okay to do this afterwards with throwaway villains if your players suddenly take an unexpected interest in them or if they escape to become a reoccurring villain. So to help
Well, okay, wait. So if you kill off a character, like if they kill a villain and then they have interest in it, you can't really do that to an extent, right? Like, I guess you could in the sense of like, oh, he was like you retroactively say, oh, he was pulling these things behind the scenes, right? Like, you could do that, but I don't know, man. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean,
help with this, I've built a quick and simple form fillable PDF sheet that I've made available on DriveThruRPG as a pay whatever the hell you want alongside my other products. So you guys can head over there. I'll throw a link down in the description box below. Grab yourself a copy and use this for your main campaign villains. And hopefully it will get you thinking about them as a more complex character than the generic evil necromancer raising an undead horde. So now I want to pass it over to you guys in the community here. What kinds of prep do you...
Yeah. This is it. So I downloaded it.
And let me guess. The final answer to all questions is fear.
I was actually going to just fill out a Word document and send it to you guys in like 38-point bold font. It's just fear.
So downloading it, I put it in their little thing here.
Fuck?
It's literally nothing. It's on there for pay what you want, but it recommends 50 cents. It's nothing but a single page.
Oh god, he has fear there.
He has fear. He has fear there. Oh yeah, of course he does. Of course he fucking does.
And then what the fuck?
Yeah. So that's a thing. Cody.
Simple villain guide. Simple. That's
it is quite simple, dude.
It is.
That is so not. That is not even in question.
Let's make a villain right now.
Okay, sure.
Fear, gluttony, wealth. What do they do?
Well, no. Let's start off. What's his greatest fear?
Yeah, true. You got to start with what his greatest fear is.
Yeah, sorry.
His greatest fear.
Starvation.
Okay. All right. He fucking does not want to starve at all. Starvation. Okay.
So his sinful flaws, that would probably be greed and gluttony.
Okay.
Gluttony,
Greed. Gluttony. Okay.
Should we throw in a quick little side thing of pride? Because if he stops being recognized throughout the land for being powerful, then his income will slow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Wouldn't that fall under greed though?
But he's prideful.
But then you also have to throw in envy, because if he is ever anywhere underneath anyone, he will then he always wants that power there of anyone else. So he's got that.
He has a woman that is super beautiful that he lusts after.
Okay, yep. All right.
I see where we're going with
this.
Because as top of the food chain, he has to have her.
He has to have her, yes.
And then, but she doesn't like him, which drives him to wrath.
Right, but also like she doesn't like him, but also like the other lords and nobles and anyone else do not like him either, because he's such a fucking fat fucking piece of shit. But he doesn't think he is, so he hates them. So yeah, wrathful. Okay. So he wants wealth and also power. Yep. Okay.
To prove them wrong.
Yep. Okay. And his means to achieve that are
total monopoly of the economy, and he's essentially a mafia boss.
Okay.
So total
of economy,
socio-economic control.
Okay.
/ downtrodden or downtrodden the oppressed.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Name Donald Trump.
Oh, hey.
Organization, the United.
There you go.
States
yes. All right.
Government.
The USA.
And
then monster stat block.
Yeah. Fiend. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Fiend.
All right.
Fiend.
Cool.
Page.
Oh, yep. Page 420. Okay.
Page 420.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Please, if you guys as listeners want to use this, feel free. There's a suggested donation of 75 cents.
Yep.
Oh man.
Jesus Christ.
It's I mean, sure, if you have creative writing block, I guess it could help. There's nothing bad about this. This is totally, honestly, just not even worth any time.
It's really not.
It's
but
literally
it's
something that after listening to the video, you could build yourself a notepad.
exactly. It's inoffensive that it exists. So I guess if you need it, go get it. I guess.
But like, it's not that hard to come up with a villain.
It's really not. You
really
literally
not.
just have to go, what are they going to do, or why are they going to do it, right? That's all you need to start with. And then build it from there.
Yeah. It's like literally, for instance, the reason why my players are still alive, they've not gotten into a serious fight with my main villain, a necromancer lich, or not quite a lich because he never really died. He just kind of kills people, and with the fresh bodies, he grafts parts of them onto himself. Like, part of my cheek is rotting, and he'll like kill a young elf, and then he'll like stitch on its cheek.
Sure.
Cool.
Who ironically fears death. And the only reason that the party is still alive is because he's too prideful to take them down himself, because he's like, this is beneath me. He also happens to be working underneath another necromancer named Manamarco, who is an established character in the Elder Scrolls universe.
Yeah.
And the reason that they got away from him the first time was because he was under strict orders. If the base that you were overseeing is attacked, simply retreat and report.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, like, you must have watched this video beforehand when you made him, right? Like,
I guess, yeah.
It just stuck in your mind so much.
And to think that this was a simplistic villain that I made as a first-time DM, making a story for the first ever fucking time.
Yeah, man. Dude, being a new DM, it's just fucking, it sucked. He sucks. Yeah. He sucks, man.
He's terrible.
Like, legitimately, I will actually work on, like, providing him some more depth, but as far as Cody is concerned, I think I have all the depth I need.
It's true, yeah. You've got it, dude. You do. Thank you, Cody.
Yeah. Your channel's great. Love you to pieces.
It's all right. Yeah.
Really don't agree with this video.
Yeah. No, the video's bad. Sorry. Not sorry. Yeah. I think that's everything for today. Honestly, we've covered quite a bit, and unfortunately, Boo is a little bitch baby who needs to go to bed.
Because I got work.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid of dying.
Because he's afraid of poverty, and
and he's afraid of being tired at work tomorrow.
That's true. He's also afraid of that. You're so afraid, Boo. You're so afraid.
I know. You need to be a brave boy.
Yeah, man.
That's afraid of anything. Yeah. Be the Chad that you fear to be.
Yeah. So next time, what did we want to? Oh, right. How to make blank character.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out which one's the most egregious. Honestly. That'll be one thing, and then
I've seen a couple of these.
Oh, great! I haven't yet, so
they made me angry.
Sick. Yes. So we'll go with one of those, and then we'll choose something else. I'm not sure yet, honestly, what our second thing could be. It could be that XP to level 3 video, or it could be, I don't know, something else. I'm not sure.
I remember actually when my players first got into D&D, one of my friends in particular happened to watch Taking 20's videos already. And when we made the group chat for like a solid couple months, he just posted Taking 20 videos all the fucking
Jesus.
And I was like, fucking hell.
Yeah, that's what's even worse for me now, is that they're just like recommended to me now. And I'm just looking at them and I'm like, great, awesome. Like, literally, I see D&D Adventures worst to best, and like the thumbnail implies that Curse of Strahd is the worst, and like that's based on my favorite module that I ever ran, which was the only module that I ever ran.
Yeah, I happen to hold when you ran Strahd as like a dear place in my heart.
Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoy it.
Also, when I made the most asshole character I've ever played.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And it was a fucking joy.
Yeah. So, I might have to watch that later. It's 24 minutes! What?
Jesus.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's it from us. We're gonna go and reflect on our lives and how much our villains suck and
and
everything.
how scary everything is.
Yes, and how scary the world is and how much I just want to be in my room. Yay.
Please, for the love of God, watch the next video as well. I'm afraid that if you don't, I will be filled with wrath, and I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Don't know what I'm gonna do if you don't fucking subscribe
That's
or like
what
the
makes
video.
That's what makes me a villain. That's interesting because you never know what I'll do.
Yeah, you never fucking know.
It's not that you're terribly written and you haven't written your fucking. You haven't been written that far ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
Our fucking story, man, oh man, it sucks. But
I've been on this earth for 23 years and I only have like 1 or 2 stories.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Have a wonderful week.